Hello everyone, Xeno What If here. Bring in part 19 of What If Jackie Chan was in W.I.T.C.H. Link in the description of the fanfiction of this What If. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Not so black and white. The dungeons beneath Phobos Castle were filled to near capacity as over 100 rebels and dozens of Section 13 agents were practically crammed inside. With so many prisoners, food was scarce among them all. Some were even forced to eat the bugs that crawled their way into the cells. W.I.T.C.H reached out to grab a large insect, only for a rebel to snag him by the wrist. I saw it first. The two looked like they were about to brawl, when Aldarn called to them. Don't. Save your strength for fighting our real enemies. This seemed to calm them down as W.I.T.C.H allowed his fellow rebel to eat the insect. We need more food. Aldarn called out to the guards. After a bit, a guard came by with a large sack of bread. However, rather than give it to them, the guard mockingly dropped the bag just outside their cell, where it was completely out of arm's reach. The guard laughed at the prisoner's misfortune until his comrade began scolding him. You idiot. If they're too weak to talk, Prince Phobos will have our heads. With reluctance, the first guard kicked the bag of bread closer, allowing the prisoners to grab it and pull it into their cell, where they began to share it amongst whoever was the weakest and needed the most nourishment. Once the guards left, Aldarn looked towards one of the Section 13 agents sitting next to him. Are you sure your leader will be alright? The agent smirked. Trust me, the captain's been through worse. He can take it. In another part of the dungeon, Captain Black was in chains, covered in bruises with a black eye over his right eye as Cedric and Daolon Wong loomed over him. I will ask once more, human. The massive shapeshifter began. How did you cross the veil? Should be obvious, Snake Boy. A portal popped up. Black told him. Think you might be over-analyzing. Cedric grabbed Black and pinned him against a wall. And what are the chances a portal would just randomly appear and allow your forces to cross over into Meridian? Do I look like a wizard to you? How am I supposed to know how this magic stuff works? Black replied. You've been working with Chan and the Guardians. Just because I work with them, doesn't automatically make me an expert on magic. Captain Black responded. I mean, you're working with a wannabe Saruman right there. I don't see you wielding a magic wand. He said with a smirk. Cedric hissed angrily as he threw Captain Black toward the ground. I tire of this. Can't you simply extract the information from his mind as you have done with the wizard before? He questioned Wong. Unfortunately, I cannot. Wong replied. Most of my magics are currently being used to erect a barrier around the castle to keep other forms of magic from entering. He then gazed at the recovering Black. This means that novice wizard will be unable to cast a spell to enter this castle, and the dungeons below are a maze. Nobody will be here to rescue you anytime soon. Then I'll just have to break out on my own. Not the first time, Black said with a grin. Wipe that smug grin off your face. Cedric roared. Black's grin only grew. Make me, you wanna be Medusa. Meanwhile, just outside the castle, a single portal hung over the moat as a rope was thrown down, allowing the small team consisting of Jackie, Viper, Caleb, and Blanc to climb down onto a tiny piece of land within the moat. The ex-super thief got a good look at the castle. Whoa, talk about going back to the Dark Ages. Viper commented. Viper, thank you for your help. Jackie said sincerely. I really appreciate it. Hey, Black's my friend too, so are you, Jackie. Of course, I'm going to help. She replied. And I'll help get the rest of your friends back too while I'm at it. She told Caleb. Thanks. Caleb smiled. Blanc not like water. The pasling said as he looked at the water around them. That explains the smell. Viper commented, causing Blanc's eyelids to lower as the group hid behind a large rock for cover. Alright, I'll see if I can scout the lower areas, just like with Caverger. Jackie reached into a small bag he carried, which contained the dragon, snake, monkey, sheep, and horse talismans. He pulled out Sheep Talisman first and activated its powers, allowing Jackie's astral form to leave his physical body, which fell as Viper caught it and gently lowered it to the ground. Jackie's invisible astral form flew towards the castle, but just before he could phase inside, he hit something solid. What? He pressed his hands forward, which were stopped by some kind of invisible wall that kept him from going any further. He felt along it in all directions before realizing he could not enter. With reluctance, Jackie's astral form returned to its body. Wow, that was quick. Viper said. I can't get in. Jackie revealed as he sat up. There is some sort of barrier that is keeping my astral form from entering. Probably Wong's handiwork. Caleb assumed before picking up a pebble and throwing it at the wall, hitting only the wall and nothing else. Looks like whatever he's got up only works with magic. Non-magic stuff can touch it just fine. Guess we're gonna do this the hard way. Viper said. Blanc no like hard way. Blanc prefer easy way. Blanc commented. Don't we all? Jackie replied as they walked into the moat, with Blanc hanging onto Caleb. The group swam towards a large metal gate that blocked what appeared to be the only entrance in this area. They pressed themselves against the wall. Alright, the barrier would be likely here. Jackie reached out his arm, gesturing with his hand where he remembered feeling the invisible magic wall. So, we would be inside it at this point. Let's see here. Viper took out the snake talisman to test its capabilities. She briefly turned invisible before turning back. Looks like the talismans work inside the barrier. Guess it's only meant to keep magic stuff out, as opposed to keep them from working entirely. There should be a lever or something on the other side of the gate that can open it. Caleb said. But somebody is gonna have to keep him busy. Keep who busy? Jackie asked, only for the group to look in front of them and see a large eel-like monster swimming through the moat straight toward them. Blanc screamed at the sight of it as he held onto Caleb tighter. Alright, Viper, you and Blanc find a way to open the gate. Caleb and I will distract it. Got it, Viper said as she pulled Blanc off Caleb before brandishing the monkey talisman. Hang on tight, little guy. Using the talisman's power, she transformed herself and Blanc into two snakes, which were easily able to swim through the bars and on the other side of the gate, leaving Jackie and Caleb to swim in another direction and lure the eel monster away. Earth, Heatherfield. The town seemed to be getting ready for the coming holidays as Christmas trees were being pulled up and decorated, with plenty of colorful lights being hung over the buildings. Even nature contributed with a thick blanket of snow that had formed the previous night. Wow, Christmas is already a week away. Jade commented as she, Will, and Cornelia walked down the sidewalk. Guess time flies when you're kicking evil a new one. Hope Caleb and Jackie are okay. Cornelia said with worry. Cornelia, this is Jackie Chan and Caleb we're talking about. Will told her. Plus, they got Viper and Blanc with them. I'm sure they'll be fine. Hey Will, is that your boyfriend? Jade asked as the girls saw a certain guy walking in the same direction toward them. It's Matt, Will exclaimed. How do I look? Like you're about to have a panic attack. Jade joked. Seriously, just go talk to him or something. I talk to him all the time. Will stated. We compare notes in class, we talk at lunch, we're total friends. Just friends? Cornelia questioned with a raised eyebrow, causing Will to blush. Well, it is a week away from Christmas. I can always pull out the mistletoe. Jade teased. Don't you dare, Will exclaimed, her whole face turning as red as her hair. Oh, well good luck anyway. Cornelia teased as well as she and Jade walked away, purposely leaving Will with her approaching crush. I'm gonna get those two back for this. Will thought to herself as she straightened herself out a bit to look a little more decent just as Matt walked up with a box and a bag in hand. Hey Will, he greeted. Hey Matt, she greeted back, trying to act casual. So, holidays are around the corner. Yeah, and since it's the season of giving, thought I'd give you something. He handed her the box in his hands. She took the box and opened it, only to find a cute little dormouse inside with a fuzzy little tail. Aw, so cute. She practically gushed at the sight of it. It's a dormouse, Matt explained. We had him at my grandpa's pet shop, but nobody seemed to want him. Maybe you would. I mean you did say you loved animals. Yeah, I do, Will said as she wiggled her finger in front of it. But I'd have to clear it with my mom. My apartment lets us have small pets, but she gets the say. But if it doesn't work out, I promise find a good home for him. Glad to hear it, Matt nodded. Here's some mouse food for him too. He handed her the bag, which she took, only to find it heavier than she thought. A lot of it, apparently. She said with a chuckle. Meridian. Back in the moat, Jackie swung from vine to vine, avoiding the eel-like monster that shot out of the water to snap at him with its massive jaws. Unfortunately, the vine that Jackie grabbed onto next, snapped. Jackie screamed as he fell toward the open jaws of the giant eel, but he spread his legs and feet out to keep himself from falling in as well as forcing the monster's jaws open. Bad eel! Bad eel! Bad eel! Jackie exclaimed, stuck in this unfortunate predicament. Fortunately for him, this left the monster open for Caleb to run on top a large root, draw his katana, and leap toward the eel and stab it in the back, causing the eel to throttle in pain before flinging itself to toss Jackie and Caleb off. "Guys, over here," Viper called to them as the gate had been opened. Jackie and Caleb both swam in that direction as fast as they could, the recovering eel swimming after them. "Okay little guy, get ready to drop it when I say," she told Blanc, who held a rope tight that kept the gate from closing. Aye. Blanc ready. Jackie and Caleb were almost there, but it seemed like the eel was about to close on them first. However, right as it opened its mouth to devour the pair, Viper brandished the dragon talisman to shoot a blast of fire straight into its open mouth and send it crashing back just as Jackie and Caleb crossed the threshold. "Now," Viper ordered, causing Blanc to drop the rope, allowing the metal gate to fall and close shut. The quartet looked outside to see the recovering eel hack and thrash, smoke coming from its throat, before diving back into the water. "Alright, we're in," Caleb said as the four were ankle deep in water, walking deeper into the castle. The first room they found themselves in appeared to be a defensive station of sort, complete with a catapult that led outside, perhaps to keep intruders from coming in close. "From this point forward, we have to stick together. We cannot afford to get separated," Jackie told the group. "Yeah, good idea," Viper agreed. "Everyone join hands, we gotta do this quietly." Jackie held onto her left hand while Caleb held onto her right, with Blanc holding onto Caleb's other hand. Jackie held out the snake talisman with his free hand, allowing all four of them to turn invisible before proceeding onward. However, the next room they walked into was revealed to be a pathway that led into four different pathways. "Let's try this one," Caleb said, referring to the pathway on the far right. Seeing as they had no option but to guess, that was the path they choose. However, none of them appeared to notice a pair of eyes appearing from a wall, gazing in the direction and sound of water splashing. The face of Tarakudo appeared briefly before disappearing shortly after. Heatherfield, Vandam residence. Will walked into her apartment with box and bag in hand. "Hey mom, you here?" she called out. "Right here, sweetie," Susan said as she put a star on top of a Christmas tree in their living room. "Just finished decorating the tree." She turned to her daughter to see the box in her hand as Will set the bag down. "What do you got there?" "Okay, Mom, you know how when we got this apartment, they said we could have small pets?" Will asked. Susan looked at her with a raised eyebrow. "Will, you didn't catch a wild rabbit or squirrel, did you?" "What? No, it's not a wild animal." Will protested before opening the box to reveal the dormouse to her mother. "It's a dormouse. Matt gave him to me." "Matt, you mean that boy you're always talking about?" Susan asked. Yeah, Will confirmed, hiding her blush. "Anyway, I told you how his grandpa owns a pet store. This little guy was there, but nobody wanted him. So, maybe we could." She tried to give her mother a pair of cutesy eyes. "I mean, how can you say no this face?" She showed the cute little dormouse for emphasis. "Will, owning a pet is a big responsibility," Susan told her. "It's not like getting a toy or anything like that. You gotta feed them, clean them, make sure they're healthy, give them lots of love." She practically gushed at the dormouse herself, waving her finger in front of him. She caught notice of Will's own grin, before straightening herself. "Like I said, big responsibility." "I know," Will replied, "which is why I'm thinking of a trial run." "Trial run?" Susan asked. "Yeah, we'll hold on to him till say, after the holidays." Will explained. "If things work out, we'll keep him. If not, then my friends and I will see to it he gets a good home somewhere else." "And you're perfectly okay with that?" Susan asked. "If it doesn't work out, you don't mind at all?" "Well, I'd be a little upset, yeah, but it'd be for the best." Will accepted. "Just as long as we don't let him loose in the wild. It's cold out there, and I don't think he's wild enough to hibernate." Susan thought about it for a moment before making her decision. "Alright, like you said, if you can prove responsible to take care of him, we'll keep him. But if it doesn't work out, we'll think of something else." "Totally." Will nodded. I'll keep him in a shoebox in my closet for now, tomorrow I'll get a little pen for him. I've already got tons of food to last a while. She took the box containing the little dormouse as well as the bag and went toward her room. Hey Will. Her mother called out to her. Yeah, she turned back. I just wanted to say, I'm really proud of you. Susan began. I know things haven't been easy since moving here, especially at what happened with your old school. Will grimaced a bit, recalling what her old friends did to her. But you've really grown up since then. You're being more responsible with school, you're willing to compromise, you've just really grown, and I'm very proud of you, sweetie. She smiled. Will smiled back. Well, I had some pretty good influences. But thanks Mom. Meridian, Jackie, Viper, Caleb, and Blanc had been going in circles since entering the underground of the castle. The first path they took ended up circling them back to the same chamber, the second was a dead end, and the third ended the same way the first did. The four of them continued to remain invisible via the snake talisman as they retraced their steps. This place is a freaking maze. Viper commented. This is the third time we've been in here. This is actually quite similar to Egyptian tombs. Jackie recalled. Ancient pharaohs had countless empty chambers and paths built in their tombs to confuse grave robbers. It seems Phobos went in a similar direction. Great, but how is that going to help us? Caleb questioned. Blanc, can you smell any of the prisoners? Jackie asked the pasling. No. Too many new smells. Blanc can only smell friends. Blanc said. Viper sighed. It looks like the one on the right is the only path we didn't take. Guess we have no choice. Keep together. With that, the invisible group entered what seemed like the only available path for them, only to find it darker than the previous ones. So dark, I can't see a thing. Caleb complained. Just stay together. We can still. Jackie was however interrupted as he accidentally stepped into a pit that he was unable to see and ended up dragging his companions down with him. All four of them yelled and screamed in surprise as they fell down a water causeway and ended up landing with a splash, in the very first chamber they entered from the beginning. The group, now fully visible, looked around in frustration at their current location. Ah, come on. Viper complained. Phobos, throne room. Chan and the rebel leader have entered the castle. Phobos exclaimed. Yes, but they seem rather lost at the moment. Tarakudo confirmed as he, Cedric, Wong, and Miranda were present before the Dark Prince. Take Miranda and have them removed from the premises. As painfully as possible. Phobos ordered. Consider it done, come along Miranda. Tarakudo ordered. Fine. Miranda rolled her eyes, being commanded by somebody else other than Cedric before shapeshifting into her spider form and crawled up the ceiling and the window with Tarakudo simply flying through on his own. Anything from the prisoners? Phobos asked Cedric and Wong. I'm afraid not, my prince. This, Captain Black, is a strong one, unfortunately. Cedric said. Perhaps cutting off the prisoners' food could make them more eager to speak. Wong offered. Before this conversation could continue, there was a knock on the door. Suspecting who it was, Phobos quickly brought up the illusion around his throne room as his sister entered. Phobos, have you seen Miranda? Elion asked. I'm afraid not. She tends to wander around the castle grounds. She's quite an adventurous girl. Phobos commented. Tell me about it, but I need somebody to teach me all these weird Meridian dances. Elion replied with some humor before her smile faded. Listen, Phobos, about what happened at the battle, I know you told me to stay back but, I couldn't just sit by and. Elion, I'm not mad about that. Phobos told her. Honestly, I'm rather proud. That took the princess by surprise. You saw your home was in danger and made a stand to defend it. You've even shown how skilled you are with your powers, capturing all those rebels as opposed to just wiping them out. You've really grown since coming here. You're going to be an amazing queen, I know it. She looked toward him with a smile. Just promise me one thing. She reached out and grabbed his hand. Stay by my side. I might end up becoming queen, but I'll still need you. Not just as my advisor but, as my brother. We're family, right? Phobos kneeled to her level and placed his hands on her shoulders. Elion, I will never leave you. No matter what, I'll always be by your side. I swear it. That was enough for her to wrap her arms around him, catching him by surprise. I love you, big brother. Conflicting emotions filled Phobos' being, but he nonetheless returned the gesture. "And you, sister." He truly meant it. Which is why he was going to have her sent back to Earth once he had her powers and her memories of him erased, the memories of the heartbreak and betrayal she'll inevitably feel once the ceremony begins. It is best she lives a normal life away from all that Meridian has become, and away from him. As their embrace continued, two separate parties observed with their own agendas. Cedric and Wong shared subtle yet sinister smirks with each other. A plan of their own was in the making, as well as their own individual plans to backstab the other. The second party, consisting of the Dark Kai enforcers, observed everything from outside the throne room, just beyond the main doors. "Ah, that's so sweet." Ratso gushed. "Yeah, too bad everything he just told her was a big fat lie." Chow commented. "She's a good kid, and she definitely does not deserve what's about to happen to her." Finn said. "So, let's just tell her the truth." Ratso suggested. "We tell her how bad her brother is and leave with her." Dude, are you forgetting the fact that we're magically enslaved to short, dark and wrinkly in there?" Finn reminded. "No way he's gonna let us run off with the kid. And she probably won't believe us either. Phobos has got her wrapped around his finger." Chow added. "So, what are we gonna do?" Ratso asked. "We said we'd protect her, but we can't protect her from what she really needs to be protected from." "No, maybe we can't," Finn said before an idea came to him. "But I think we all know somebody who can." Chow and Ratso both knew exactly who their friend was talking about, and knew it was probably the best idea they had. "Well, time to swallow our pride," Chow said. Do we really have any left at this point?" Ratso asked. "Earth. Uncle's rare finds." After having set up temporary nest for her new pet dormouse at her apartment, we'll met up with the rest of the girls, along with Uncle, Toru, and Yan Lin at the Chan family shop. "Now Wei, your boyfriend gave you a pet rat," Jade said, trying hard not to laugh. "Mr. Huggles is not a rat, he's a dormouse," Will quickly said. "And Matt is not my boyfriend." "Not yet anyway," Irma teased. "You named your pet, Mr. Huggles?" Terani asked. "Yep, I even took a pic of him. Here, look." Will showed her friends a picture of Mr. Huggles on her cell phone. "And Mom is totally gushing over him. It might be a trial run right now, but I think he's a keeper." "Aw, he's so cute." Lin and Alchemy both gushed. He's not as cute as Scruffy," Jade said, as the aforementioned dog ran up to her and began to lick her face. "You guys are busy talking about cute animals, but shouldn't Caleb be back by now?" Cornelia asked with worry. "For the umpteenth time, he's got Jackie and Viper with him. Plus, they're packing talisman heat," Irma reminded. "And it's only a scouting mission. They'll be fine," Terani added. "Iya, can you keep it down?" Uncle chastised the group as he and Yan Lin were at the front desk with a certain deck of cards laid out in front of them. Uncle most focus on Hanafuda cards. "Seriously, you still haven't figured that stuff out yet?" Cornelia questioned. "There's only one Oni mask left, right? Shouldn't we have figured out the Hanafuda cards already?" Will also questioned. "You would think," Yan Lin commented, "but I think I figured out the issue. The cards have to be arranged in a specific order to find the location and appearances of each mask, as well as the necessary removal ingredient. But I think each individual card only contains one of these items. We have to match a specific mask to a specific location and specific removal ingredient before they're revealed. Then why not just get rid of the cards you've already used? Wouldn't that make it easier to narrow it down?" Terani asked. "As said before, once mask is found, cards are wiped clean," Uncle reminded. "We have no way of isolating used cards from unused ones. Talk about a needle in a haystack," Lin commented. "Well, maybe ask Toru. Isn't he the expert on Japanese stuff?" Irma asked. "Hey, where is the big guy anyway?" Alchemy asked as they couldn't seem to find him in the shop. "I'm in the back room." They heard Toru's voice from said room as the group looked inside to see Toru working at the desk with various spell ingredients, potions, and a cauldron containing a green liquid. "What you doing there, T?" Jade asked. "Working on some fancy spell." "As a matter of fact, yes," Toru confirmed. As said before, Jackie and the others are on a scouting mission to find where Captain Black and the rebels are being held in Phobos Castle. But, even if they did find them, rescuing is going to be difficult with Tarakudo there as well. So, let's just throw another onion at him. It's worked before, Cornelia suggested. Yes, but that has worked far too often. Toru replied. Tarakudo is smart, he's likely caught onto our tricks at this point. So, I'm working on making a new spell that can help camouflage us from Tarakudo, making us invisible to him. Who don't we just use the snake talisman? Hey Lin asked. It's worked before. Exactly, they'll be expecting us to use the talismans. Toru responded. This is an entirely new spell. If it works, we'll slip in without even Tarakudo noticing. Wow, you've really given this a lot of thought, haven't you? Terani said with an impressed smile, one that all the girls shared as they looked towards the sumo. Even Uncle and Yan Lin smiled as well. You've trained this one well, Jin. Yan Lin commented. Toru has made a good apprentice. Uncle said with pride. Apprentice? Irma questioned. Dude, he made a spell all on his own. Pretty sure he's a full-fledged wizard at this point. That's nice of you, but I still have a long way to go. Toru said. Oh, don't act so modest, you're amazing Toru. Jade told him, nudging him on the side. What she said. Will agree. Totally. Cornelia added. You really are amazing. Terani also said. You'll be a super wizard one day. Hey Lin praised. And maybe, I could be your apprentice. Alchemy said, somewhat bashfully. Toru couldn't help but smile and even blush at the praise of those he had come to trust and care for. Meridian, Phobos Castle. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Viper commented as the group was back in the exact same place they began. There has to be something here, something we missed. Caleb stated. Oh there is. A new voice spoke aloud as the Oni King's reflection appeared in the water below them before manifesting above the group. But you're never going to find it. Tarakudo. Jackie exclaimed as he, Viper, and Caleb readied themselves, the later drawing his katana. Blanc screamed. Floating head thing. As he said that, Tarakudo unleashed a powerful psychic wave to blast all of them back. However, the heroes quickly recovered and went on the attack, not noticing Miranda in her spider form was crawling down from the wall nearest toward them. Miranda shot a strand of webbing, which managed to ensnare Viper's arm and draw the ex-thief's attention. Okay, that's just gross. Viper commented upon seeing the webbing coming from Miranda's mouth before drawing the dragon talisman and blasting a stream of fire that cut the webbing and freed her. But Miranda was able to dodge the blast by leaping to another area of the wall, leading the two to engage in a firefight with web and fire blasts respectively. Tarakudo, meanwhile, used his powers to pull out several bricks from the walls and send them flying towards Jackie and Caleb, with Blanc hanging onto Jackie's back. The martial artist did his best to dodge all the projectiles Tarakudo sent his way, ducking, jumping and rolling in every way he knew how, while Caleb used his katana to slice and parry any projectile that came in his direction before moving closer toward Tarakudo, slicing his blade at him, which Tarakudo flew up to avoid. Looks like you're all out of tricks. Tarakudo commented. Well, you had to know it was only a matter of time, right? He blasted the two back with another psychic wave. Blanc think it's time for strategic retreat. The Pasling suggested. Blanc is right, we have to go. Jackie agreed. But what about, Caleb attempted to protest. Caleb, we cannot win this. We have to go. Jackie told him. We'll come back and rescue the prisoners, I promise. Realizing he was right, Caleb grimaced in agreement. Fine. The pair, along with Blanc, ran towards the catapult, seeing it as their only way out. Viper, we are leaving. Jackie called to her as she backflipped to avoid another stand of webbing from Miranda while retaliating with another blast from the dragon talisman. Yeah, tactical retreat. Got it. Viper said as she leapt from the water, all the way toward the catapult just as Jackie, Caleb, and Blanc loaded themselves in. Tarakudo and Miranda both moved in to close the distance, but Caleb used his katana to slice the rope holding the catapult back, launching all four of them out the window and away from the castle. Well, that's one way to retreat. Tarakudo commented. Points for creativity. He said as Miranda merely growled in annoyance. Back outside, the launch from the catapult sent Jackie, Viper, Caleb, and Blanc landing just outside the portal that remained open for them, a rope hanging from it that would allow them to climb back up. As they recovered, Blanc's cheeks bulged before he opened his mouth and held out his tongue, which had a frog on top of it before it hopped off with a ribbit. Well, that was a total bust. Viper commented. I don't think we're gonna find the prisoners all on our own. You're right, Viper. Jackie agreed. We'll need the others to help. Perhaps Uncle can devise a locator spell for Captain Black and the others. The group then heard a familiar roar and looked off in the distance to see a small army approaching their location led by Cedric and Daolon Wang. How about we get out of here, first? Caleb suggested, as was the first to climb the rope and up through the portal. Before Jackie could climb next, he noticed Viper wasn't moving from her spot. Viper, they'll just follow us through. She said. I'll hold them off, you get back up. What? No, I am not leaving anybody else behind. Not again, Jackie exclaimed. You're not leaving me behind, Jackie. I'm covering your escape. I'm not going to let myself get captured. Viper replied. Trust me, I can handle this. She said with a smirk. This is me we're talking about, remember? Jackie hated doing this again. He was already forced to leave Captain Black behind as well as his agents in the last battle, and the thought of leaving another friend alone to fend for themselves was not one that sat well with him. But at the same time, she had a point. Cedric, Wang, and their forces could simply follow them through the portal if they all went. Viper lady not fight bad guys alone. Blanc also stay and help. Blanc volunteered as he leapt onto Viper's shoulder. I'll be fine, Jackie. You just get that backup. Jackie told her. Jackie couldn't help but sigh in reluctance. Alright, but be careful. And take the rest of the talismans, just in case. He tossed her the sheep, horse, and monkey talismans before going into the portal himself. Viper then brandished the snake talisman, allowing herself and Blanc to become invisible. Cedric and Wang approached the general location of the portal as they saw the rope being pulled up. They will not escape us this time. Cedric hissed. Prepare to enter the human world. Watch out, boys. They all heard a voice coming from the middle of the group as they all looked in shock to see Viper and Blanc suddenly appearing in the center of the army, the ex-thief smirking at them as she brandished the dragon talisman. Snake in the grass. She blasted Cedric point blank to knock him back. Wang retaliated with a blast from his scepter, but Viper had turned invisible with the snake talisman again and dodged as Wang's own blast hit several guards. Blanc, still visible himself, had leapt into the air with the monkey talisman to transform into a giant larvic and went on to attack Wang and several guards himself. Earth. Uncle's rare finds. Chameleon scales. Toru requested as he continued to work on the spell with Terani and alchemy providing assistance. Check. Terani handed him a box of the substance, which Toru added to the cauldron. Powdered onion. Right here. Alchemy gave him a vial of white powder. This is from white onions, right? Not red onions? Toru asked. Wouldn't either one be fine? Terani asked. My studies have shown that white onions are stronger against the Oni than red. Toru explained. I'm not certain exactly how, but I know it works. Oh, well yeah, this is from white onions. Alchemy confirmed. Good. Toru added the powder to the potion. Meanwhile, Will, Jade, Uncle, Irma, Heilin, Cornelia, and Yanlin continued to watch from the side as Uncle couldn't help but smile with pride. That is my apprentice. Looks like we might finally get the drop on Tarakudo for once. Heilin said. Yeah, I'd love to see the look on his face when that happens. Jade smirked. Hopefully it'll be soon. Jackie and Caleb should be back any minute now. Will said. How long is a recon mission supposed to be anyway? Cornelia questioned, still looking worried. It's just a quick in and out, right? Cornelia, when have things ever worked out so well for us? Irma questioned with lowered eyelids. It's pretty much routine at this point. We come with a plan at the beginning, something goes wrong, and we gotta improvise to get it done. She has a point, Will admitted. Have faith, girls. Yanlin told them. I'm certain they'll be back any minute. As if on K, the shop door opened as Jackie and Caleb quickly entered. See, what did I tell you? Before the girls could move to greet their friends, Jade noticed someone was missing. Where's Viper? She and Blanc stayed behind to keep Cedric and Wang from chasing after us. Jackie said. Oh no, we gotta go help them. Heilin exclaimed. Toru, how's that spell coming along? Will asked. It's not quite ready yet. Toru replied as he, Terani, and alchemy joined the others. It'll take some more time. We don't have time. Our friends are in trouble, and we gotta help them now. Caleb stated. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Jade stated. We'll get Viper and Blanc, and we'll come up with a new plan to get Captain Black and everyone else back. Couldn't agree more. Will brandished the heart of Kandrakar and said the magic words. Guardians unite. Meridian. After stepping through the same portal and back into the moat just outside Phobos Castle, the 6 Guardians, along with Jackie, Uncle, Toru, and Caleb were greeted with the sight of what appeared to be a small war zone. Fires and debris were scattered everywhere, but there didn't appear to be any sign of their friends. Whoa, something big went down here. Cornelia looked around. Blanc, where are you? Caleb called out. Viper. Jackie also called out. Blanc, Viper. Everyone called out, trying to find them. You don't think they were captured, do you? Lin asked with nervousness. We left Viper and Blanc the talismans, I don't think they were captured. Jackie replied. Caleb clenched his fists. I swear if those bastards hurt my friend. Caleb called Blanc friend. They all heard Blanc cry out as he and Viper turned visible, both looking a bit banged up before the pasling leapt toward Caleb with a hug. Caleb liked Blanc. Like is such a strong word. Caleb grimaced as the others gathered around him and Viper, with Jade quickly giving the ex-thief a hug herself. Glad you made it out okay, Viper. Jade smiled. Barley, Snakeboy and the anti-Gandalf put up a heck of a fight. Viper commented. Sorry we couldn't get any closer to the castle. Castle not important. Safety of friends and allies is. Uncle said with a smile. Uh-oh, be careful Uncle, I thought saw a smile. Irma teased. Looks like the old guy has a heart after all. Cornelia also teased. Somewhere underneath all the wrinkles and garlic breath. Come on, let's get out of here before. Toru suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Toru. Jackie looked with worry. I have the willies. Toru revealed, something Jade felt as well. Same here. Aw crap. Will muttered as they all knew exactly what that meant. Excrement is the least of your worries. Tarakudo's voice rang through the air as he emerged from a large root in his usual fashion. Especially when the king of all Oni has arrived. Tarakudo. Most of them all exclaimed as they readied themselves for a fight. And I brought a little something extra too. He unleashed his psychic powers on several pieces of debris, causing them to break open as he telekinetically lifted several dozen scorpion-like creatures and shot them at the heroes. Morpions. Scatter. Caleb exclaimed, with the group diving or flying away to try and avoid getting hit by the living projectiles. Terani, however, wasn't so lucky as a Morpion hit her in the shoulder and quickly stung her in that location, causing her to cry out before falling. Terani. Will quickly flew out to catch her and find the Fire Guardian unconscious in her arms. Well, I'd say that was a nice warm-up. Tarakudo smirked. Now time for the main event. Dragon ambushes knights and fairies. The Dark Kai warrior form of Hakfu suddenly shot down from the sky Superman style, shooting out his fist toward Jackie specifically, who just rolled out of the way in time as the impact caused a crater. And he was not the only one, for Daolan Wang, Cedric, Miranda, and small army of guards all appeared out of nowhere and attacked. Great, an ambush. Cornelia grumbled as she and her fellow guardians flew out of the way to avoid the psychic blasts from Tarakudo and spears thrown at them by the enemy soldiers. Wang shot a blast of Dark Kai magic at Uncle, who retaliated with his own Kai blasts from his blowfish. Cedric leapt at Toru and tackled him into the water. Miranda shot some more webbing at Viper, and Jackie continued to dodge the strikes from Hakfu. As the battle continued to wage, nobody seemed to notice the Dark Kai enforcers sneaking around one route and getting close to the still open portal. Alright, let's get going. Finn said. But what if they don't make it out of here? Ratso asked. Come on, this Chan and those fairy girls, for crying out loud. When did they ever not make it out? Chow reminded. Oh right, or else we wouldn't keep losing all the time. Ratso replied before the three of them made a break for it and leapt into the portal without anybody noticing. Meanwhile, Caleb drew his katana as he blocked and parried the axe and sword strikes from several guards, with Blanc clinging onto his back for dear life, before moving closer towards Will and Terani to provide cover. Will she be okay? Will asked, referring to her unconscious friend. Morpion bite. It's not fatal, but she'll be out for 24 hours. Caleb said. But we can use the horse talisman to fix her up once we get back through the portal. Will said. Easier said than done, Caleb commented as he parried another strike. Blanc say we all leave now. The pasling complained. Meanwhile, as Uncle and Wong locked themselves in a struggle, pitting magic against magic, Viper continued to backflip and avoid the web blast shot at her by Miranda before Viper brandished the snake talisman to turn herself invisible, much to Miranda's frustration. Where did you go? She asked, looking around. Right here, Spider Girl. Viper suddenly appeared behind her to point the dragon talisman and blast the giant spider away. Toru and Jackie found themselves back to back as Cedric and Hawkfu loomed over them respectively. The martial artist and Sumo looked toward each other with nods just as their foes charged at them. Jackie leapt into the air as Toru ducked, allowing Hawkfu and Cedric to crash into each other. Toru quickly rose with a double fist attack to each of their jaws, which Jackie added with his feet as he fell, landing on the back of their heads at the same time. Both attacks sent their enemies rolling back as Jackie landed back on his feet and shared a fist bump with Toru. At the same time, Tarakudo sent another psychic wave towards Cornelia, Heilin, Jade, and Irma, which the Shadow Guardian attempted to block with a barrier of shadow magic, allowing Cornelia to use her powers over plants to shoot up a series of tendrils from the ground beneath the water to wrap and ensnare Tarakudo, which Irma added to with a sphere of water to completely encase the trap, and Heilin finished it off with a cold gust of wind to freeze it solid. The four guardians tried to catch their breath, only to look in frustration as Tarakudo simply phased through the trap of plants and ice like walking through thin air. Nice try girls, Tarakudo said before blasting Irma, Heilin, and Cornelia back with another psychic attack. But it's gonna take more than that to bring me down. Then how about something that we know hurts you? Jade exclaimed before sending a wave of shadow magic at him, which Tarakudo limboed to avoid as it barely trimmed his mustache. But the wave flew even further to slice and sever a large spiked root, causing it to fall and land on top of a guard who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Guys, we have to go. Now. They all heard Will's voice call out as she, while still carrying the unconscious Terani, made it back toward the portal with Caleb and Blanc. She's right, we must leave. Jackie agreed as he and Toru ran to join them as well, with Cedric and Hawkfu quickly recovering and giving pursuit. Viper was also quick to leap and join her friends as well. Cornelia, Heilin, and Irma also recovered as they attempted to regroup, but not before the latter shot a wave of water at Daolan Wang, who was still locked in a duel against Uncle. The water wave knocked him away as Irma quickly flew in to grab Uncle and make her way back to the portal. Jade was about to join them as well when suddenly, "Help me." She stopped in midair as she glanced back to the direction of the large root branch she had previously severed to see a guard trapped underneath it. What was most surprising was the fact that Jade could see blood in the water underneath the trapped guard. "Please, help me," the guard pleaded toward her desperately. Jade briefly glanced in the direction of the portal to see most of her friends had already made it through before she turned back to the trapped guard. "Aw nuts," she muttered to herself before flying straight toward him. "Hold still." She produced a shadow katana to slice away at the branch and free the guard, only to gasp in shock to see several spikes from the roots had stuck out from his back, including one that pierced clean through his right shoulder. The look on his face told him just how much agony he was in. Realizing she was responsible for this, Jade quickly picked him up with her own enhanced strength as a guardian. "Hang tight," she told him as she flew straight toward the portal at high speeds, all her enemies in hot pursuit. Fortunately, she and the injured guard made it through just in time. The portal closed less than a second later, much to the frustration of the villains. Back on the other side of the veil, all the heroes, aside from Jade, have made it back to Earth safely as Viper quickly applied the horse talisman to Terani, allowing her to recover from the Morpion venom that kept her unconscious. "Whoa, what happened?" she asked with a startle. "You got a nasty bug bite, but you'll be okay sweetie," Viper assured. Suddenly, Jade and her rescue shot out of the portal. "Close it, now," she exclaimed. Without needing to be told twice, Will brandished the heart of Kandrakar and used its power to seal the portal shut, causing everyone to sigh with relief. "Jade, you made it." Jackie however looked in surprise to see whom Jade had brought back with her, with everyone else looking equally stunned. "Iya, Uncle exclaimed in surprise. It's a castle guard. Caleb drew his katana. Whoa, it's okay. Guys, he's injured. Just look at him. Jade showed the kneeling guard all the injuries on his back, including the spike through his shoulder. There was already quite a bit of blood. Everyone looked with his or her own expressions of shock, even Haylin gasped while covering her mouth. What happened? Will questioned. He got caught underneath a large branch. I was the one who did it. I couldn't just leave him there. Jade stated. Jackie quickly took a look at the guard's injuries. What is your name? He asked the guard. It's Tyner. Tyanar, you are seriously injured. But don't worry, we'll take care of you. Jackie said in assurance. You can't be serious. Caleb protested. He's an enemy soldier. Caleb, the guy has a freaking spike in his shoulder. Cornelia chastised. Looks like he's also lost a lot of blood too. Terani added. If we don't do something soon. Wait, he's not gonna die, is he? Haylin questioned with a panic. Even though Tyner may have been an enemy soldier, nobody here was comfortable with the idea of somebody dying right in front of them. I don't think he's going to die. Viper said, getting a look at his back. But, he does need some serious help. Maybe the horse talismans could help him. Those spikes must be removed first. Uncle said. The horse talisman cannot repair if something is blocking the way. We have a first aid kit back at the shop. Toru offered. We could tend to him there. Not like we can take this guy to a hospital or anything. Irma added. Give me your arm. Jackie told Tyner as he helped the injured guard stand, his left and least injured arm slung over Jackie's shoulder as the group made their way back toward the Chan family shop. Uncle's rare finds. Tyner laid on his back in the back room of the shop as Yan Lin had used rubber gloves and tweezers to pull out all the small spikes from his bloodied and injured back, leaving only the large spike still embedded in his right shoulder. Toru, help me hold him down. Yan Lin instructed. On it. The large sumo gently placed his hands on Tyner's arms to keep him stilled as Yan Lin grabbed the spike. Now Tyner, what's your favorite color? Yan Lin asked. I don't see how. He suddenly cried out as Yan Lin quickly yanked the spike out of his shoulder, exposing the bleeding wound as the red substance poured out. Fortunately, Yan Lin quickly applied the horse talisman, allowing all of Tyner's injuries, both major and minor, to heal and leave not even a scar. All the pain faded away as Tyner breathed in relief, with Yan Lin and Toru helping him to sit up straight. You'll be alright now. Don't worry. Yan Lin smiled as she patted his shoulder. Alchemy quickly walked in with a steaming bowl in her hands. Hey, here's some chicken soup. Trust me, this stuff really helps. Tyner hesitated for a second, but nonetheless took the bowl into his hands and drank the delicious substance inside. Thank you. The three of them allowed Tyner to get some rest as they walked out into the main room of the shop where everyone else was discussing what to do next, and what had just happened. I don't like this. He's a castle guard, Caleb said in disapproval. The guy was bleeding on the ground. What, was I supposed to let him die? Jade argued, especially when that was my fault. Jade, I think you made the right call. Jackie told her, much to Caleb's and even Jade's surprise. You saw somebody who was hurt and did everything you could to rescue him, even taking responsibility. He may have been an enemy, but you did the right thing. I'm proud of you. Jade smiled sincerely at her uncle. When the others noticed the disapproving look on Caleb's face, Will spoke up next. Look, just because somebody works for the bad guys, doesn't automatically make them bad too. She said. Yeah, maybe the guy was only following orders. Terani added. And I don't think Phobos, Wong, Cedric, and Tarakudo are the kinda guys who take no for an answer. If we just leave somebody to bleed out like that, how are we different from the bad guys? Irma asked rhetorically. Toru used to be a bad guy too, remember? Haylin reminded Caleb. He used to work for Valmont, but now he's one of our best friends. You're even BFFs with a passling, Caleb. Cornelia added, referring to Blunk. Whom, you said were nothing but greedy thieves. Caleb Blunk bestie. Blunk hugged the young rebel's leg, causing him to cringe slightly, but he couldn't deny that he did care about Blunk, or the arguments the girls. Hell, I used to be an international thief. Viper added. I worked with some pretty shady guys, but I left that life behind me a long time ago. Alright, I get it. Caleb raised his hands. But, it's just hard for me, ya know. Guys like him put me and my friends through a lot of grief for years. And we don't blame you for feeling that sort of resentment, Caleb. Jackie said. But people can change. Sometimes, all it really takes is a chance to do the right thing. Chan. A familiar voice called out as the front door opened to reveal the Dark Kai enforcers entering the shop as well, much to everyone's shock. "Ah, come on. Don't you guys know when to quit?" Jade exclaimed as everyone readied themselves for a fight. Finn, Ratso, and Chow brandished their weapons, before immediately throwing them down on the ground and getting on their knees before the heroes as they said two words none of them could expect. "We quit." Huh. Jackie, Will, Jade, Irma, Heylin, Terani, Cornelia, Toru, Uncle, Alchemy, Viper, Yanlin, even Blanc all questioned simultaneously with wide, circular eyes. "We're tired of never making money," Ratso said. "We're tired of being smacked around by crime lords, dragons, wizards, princes, shapeshifters, and floating demon heads." Chow added. "And most of all, we're tired of getting our asses constantly handed to us by you guys," Finn said. "Yeah, it hurts," Ratso added, rubbing his rear for emphasis. Everyone lowered their guard in surprise as they looked at the enforcers who appeared to be begging before them. "We wanna be good guys." All three of them begged. "A trick," Uncle exclaimed. "They were sent by Daolan Wang. They are his Dark Kai warriors." "No, we're telling the truth." Finn crawled toward Uncle and wrapped his arms around his leg. "Big D, P, C, and T don't even know we're here. We jumped into that portal thing while you guys were all fighting." Chow said. "We even saw you bring that guard inside." "Ah, come on, please." Ratso begged. "If you won't do it for us, do it for Elion." Elion. Cornelia and Alchemy both exclaimed at the same time. "Where's that coming from?" Cornelia questioned. "Hey, she's a sweet kid," Finn said. "Not like that wacko brother of hers. She doesn't deserve to have her powers sucked out and her memory wiped." Ratso commented. Wait, you guys, actually like Elion?" Irma asked in surprise. "She's cute, optimistic, a total sweetheart, what's not to like?" Chow replied. "How do we know this isn't some kind of trap?" Caleb questioned skeptically. "Wong could have sent you here to spy on us." "No, I think they're telling the truth," Toru said. "I used to work with the three of them, so I know them quite well. I don't know how exactly they came to truly befriend Elion, but I can tell that they do indeed care for her. Blanc can tell when someone's shifty. Orange guys don't look shifty." Even Blanc seemed to believe the enforcer's plea. "It's true. They heard Tyner speak up as he walked out of the back room. I've seen the three of them with the princess, and she seems rather fond of them herself." "Oh yeah, well, if you guys like her so much, why don't you tell her what the bad guys are planning to do with her?" Cornelia questioned. "Phobos has got her wrapped around his finger. She won't believe us if we did tell her," Finn replied. "And I don't think Wong's gonna let us off the hook for trying to rat him out like that," Chow added. "Plus, we don't wanna be enslaved to that guy for all eternity either," Ratso said. "Ah, come on Chan, please," Finn begged. "You gave these guys a chance." He gestured to Toru, Viper, and even Tyner. "They do have a point." Yanlin seemed to be alright with it. A foe turned to a friend could be the most powerful of allies. "What did you think of that? Sounded pretty cool, huh? Okay, let's say we all agree and you guys really wanna turn over a new leaf. How are you gonna help us?" Viper asked. "I can take you to where the prisoners are." Tyner volunteered, getting all their attention. "I've patrolled those dungeons, that place is a labyrinth, but I know it like the back of my hand. And we can keep a close eye on Elion till you're ready to rescue her." Chow also volunteered. "But why do you wanna help us?" Terani asked Tyner. "These guys say they like Elion, but what about you? These three at least have the excuse that they're magically enslaved, but you know you're basically committing treason against Phobos by doing this, right?" Caleb told him. "You saved my life," Tyner said. "I owe you a debt, I wish to repay it, and I'm not the only one. I know there are several other guards like me who can't stand working with Phobos and his allies any longer, and after what happened to the villagers, water supply, that crossed the line. I know I've done harm against the rebellion and probably other innocent people, but I can't stand it anymore. I'll help you free your friends and stop Phobos, and if I end up being punished for my crimes after, then so be it. That took nearly all of them by surprise. This guy was really willing to betray Phobos and even face punishment for his actions. One look in his eyes told him he was dead serious. Toru then walked up toward him at first and offered his hand to shake. Speaking as someone who was on the wrong side before, I understand. We could really use the help, Toru said with a smile. Tyner was surprised at first, but returned the smile and accepted Toru's handshake with his own. Well, looks like that's all settled, Jade said. Tyner here can help us get Captain Black and everyone out of the dungeons, while the three stooges over there keep an eye on Elion. Yeah, you guys should get back before Phobos finds out you're missing. We'll told them. Don't worry, we got it covered, Finn said as they picked up their weapons. We'll poof ourselves and Wong can just call us back, no problem. We'll just tell him that we tripped and fell somewhere, Chow said. Yeah, and that actually has happened before, Ratso added. Jackie gave a nod and smile. I wish you luck. Yeah, may the force be with you guys. Lin waved with a smile. With smiles of their own, Finn, Chow, and Ratso struck themselves with their own weapons, causing them to poof away and vanish. Once they were gone, the heroes, along with the newly recruited Tyner, gathered in the back room with Toru making the final touches on his spell as he twinkled some Japanese rice into the cauldron before chanting. Nukuruhi men Jaaku. Nukuruhi men Jaaku. Nukuruhi men Jaaku. As he chanted, the liquid inside the cauldron briefly glowed a bright green before the light subsided. It is ready. With this spell, a small number of people will be completely undetected from Tarakudo. We can walk right in front of him, and he won't even notice, Toru said. Unfortunately, we're not certain if that spell will work, Jackie said. Daolon Wong has erected a magical barrier around the castle. We can't pass through with talisman powers, but we can walk inside no problem, Viper added. And once we were inside, the talismans could work just fine. Such a spell could be difficult to conjure, Uncle began. This barrier may protect castle from other forms of magic such as good magic, but the talismans are strong natural magic that is neither good nor evil, which is why talismans can work inside. But that would mean there is a possibility that Toru's spell won't be able to work inside the barrier, Yan Lin added. If Tarakudo helped in making that barrier, that could be the case. He has gotten used to our tricks by now, so I wouldn't be surprised, Caleb commented. Hang on a second, Will took out the heart of Kandrakar. You guys said the seal of Phobos could open anything, right? Like maybe a magical barrier surrounding a castle, for instance. You found the seal of Phobos? Tyner questioned. Yep, and it's really made things convenient for us, Jade confirmed with a grin. That explains how your allies from Earth were able to come to Meridian in that last battle, Tyner said. We're trusting you with some vital information, Tyner, Caleb warned. If Phobos or Tarakudo find out we have the seal, it'll jeopardize our plan to rescue Elion on her coronation day. Speaking of which, have there been any changes with that? Cornelia asked. Like did they move up the date or something? No, Tyner shook his head. Phobos hasn't changed the coronation date. Guess he's waiting for a specific moment. That's good news for us. It means we can still get Elion out of there and bring down the bad guys all at once, Lin said. One thing at a time, Lin. First we gotta rescue the army we need to storm the castle, Irma told her. So, we bring down Wong's barrier, sneak in with Toru's anti-Oni spell, and bust all our pals out, Alchemy asked. I don't think it'll be that simple. Terani shook her head. If Wong made that barrier, won't he know if it goes down? Daolon Wong will know, Uncle confirmed. A spell that large must be fed constant supply of magic. He will know if it breaks. And my spell can only work on 3 people at maximum. I'm sorry but that's the best I can do, Toru said. Then we will have to split into 2 groups. Jackie seemed to have an idea. Tyner will lead 2 of us to the dungeons with Toru's spell and free the prisoners, while everyone else will attack the castle to distract Phobos, Tarakudo, and the others. Even though that spell will conceal us from Tarakudo, I don't want to take any chances with so many lives on the line. I think it's best if Caleb and I go with Tyner, Will said. I can use the heart to open a portal inside the dungeon and get everyone out without anybody noticing. We can cover our tracks too, make it look like somebody busted them out instead of letting them know we have the seal. Caleb added. One problem. What's gonna happen when the bad guys find out Will isn't with the attack? Viper asked. She's supposed to be the leader of the Guardians, right? If their leader isn't with her team when everyone else is attacking, that'll make them suspicious. Hey, who's to say she can't be in two places at once? Alchemy brandished the monkey talisman, using it to transform into Will's guardian form and even fly around a bit before touching down and turning back to normal. Alchemy, you're a genius. Cornelia praised. I try. Alchemy smirked. Well, looks like we got a plan. Jade smirked. Agreed. Jackie nodded. Everyone, get some rest. We're rescuing everyone first thing tomorrow. Be ready. The next day, Meridian, Phobos Castle. The Dark Prince sat in his throne room once again as Tarakudo, Wong, and Cedric were also present, discussing their current plans. The coronation ceremony is more than 2 weeks away. Phobos began. The rebellion may be scattered, but they're still a threat, just as Chan and the Guardians still are. One Oni mask remains, and our foes are getting more desperate by the day. What plans do any of you have that can guarantee our victory? With all due respect, my prince. Cedric began. As you say, the coronation is merely 2 weeks away. Once you have absorbed Elion's power, not even the Guardians will be able to stop you. But what can I do to eliminate our foes now? Phobos questioned. Patience, Phobos. Tarakudo spoke in a calm tone. All will end as it should be. However, unbeknownst to the Dark Kai Wizard and the Shapeshifter, Phobos and Tarakudo already had a plan of their own. Once the so-called heroes retrieve the final Oni mask, it'll all be over. Suddenly, Wong felt his head as he fell to his knees. Wong, what is it? Phobos questioned. The barrier, it has fallen. Wong revealed. Just outside the castle, hanging right by a gate near the moat that would lead to the dungeons, Will had used the power of the seal within the heart of Kandrakar to open up the barrier and bring it down. She stood alongside Caleb and Tyner before accessing the Section 13 communications device in her ear to contact the others. Alright, the barrier is down. You guys are up, she spoke. Understood, we're attacking the castle now. Jackie contacted, right before a series of explosions erupted from up above. That's our K. Alright, time to potion up. Will took out a vial of the spell that Toru had conjured up and poured it over her own head. It soaked into her body as a green aura briefly appeared around her before vanishing. Tyner and Caleb each had a vial of their own and did the same thing, getting the same results themselves. Hopefully this'll keep us invisible from Tarakudo, like Toru said. Caleb stated before glancing toward Tyner. Alright, you lead the way. But the first sign of a double cross. I'll lead you straight to your friends, I promise. Tyner said as he opened the gate and led Will and Caleb inside. However, as they made it inside, neither of them appeared to have noticed the sinister pasling named Jeek spying on them before following them as well. Meanwhile, in Elion's room, she along with Miranda and the Dark Kai enforcers heard a series of explosions as well from outside. The enforcers shared glances with each other and faint nods before Wong contacted them telepathically. Minions. Chan and the Guardians are attacking. Do not allow the princess to leave her chambers. You got it, Big D. Finn said with a wink toward his friends. What's going on? Elion questioned. Is the castle under attack, again? Elion, let your brother handle this. Miranda told her. I know you were a big help in that last battle, but we might need precision here as opposed to a blunt instrument. But, Elion attempted to protest. Sorry kiddo, but the big guys told us to keep you here. Chow said. Yeah, don't worry about it. Everything will be alright, Ratso added. Elion gave a sigh as she sat down on her bed in reluctant acceptance. Alright, fine. With that, Miranda gave a subtle yet sinister smirk, which the enforcers noticed. Back on top of the castle, Phobos, Tarakudo, Wong, and Cedric entered into the courtyard to see the heroes attacking the guards and even several Lurdans present. Jade, Irma, Terani, Lin, and Cornelia unleashed their respective elements to keep the enemy soldiers at bay, with Uncle aiding them with Kai blasts from his blowfish. Toru used his physical strength alongside Jackie's martial arts with assistance from Viper. Even Blanc had the rabbit talisman in hand as he ran at breakneck speeds to keep himself from being cut down by the soldiers and monsters, and Alchemy, who had used the monkey talisman to take the form of Will in her guardian appearance, was flying around using the dragon talisman to add to the attack as well. Zhen Wang had summoned the Dark Kai warrior Hawkfu to his side. Attack! With that command, Hawkfu leapt toward the battle as Tarakudo unleashed another psychic blast at the heroes, Cedric transforming into his massive serpentine form, and Phobos generated a magic sword in his hand as they joined the battle. Meanwhile, Tyner had led the real Will as well as Caleb through the underground maze. So far, so good. No floating head in sight. Will commented, "Looks like Toru's spell worked. Still rather not stay here any longer than we have to." "Which way?" Caleb asked Tyner as they came toward the same area that he, Jackie, Viper, and Blanc were in before, with 5 different paths that led in separate directions. "This one." He pointed toward the one on the far right. "But watch your step, there are pitfalls everywhere." He led them deeper down the tunnel, with Will picking up Caleb to hover him over the pitfalls, which Tyner was able to identify. Several turns later, and they appeared to have found their destination. "Right here. We're directly under the dungeons." Tyner pointed to a rope and closed entranceway in the ceiling where they heard a snoring-like sound. "What is that?" Will asked. "That's the sound that it's safe to go up," Tyner commented. With that, Will flew up to open the entranceway and lower the rope, allowing Caleb and Tyner to climb up into the dungeon. The first thing they found was a guard asleep on a chair. Once the captured rebels and Section 13 agents saw them, they looked more than a little excited, but Caleb pressed his finger to his mouth, motioning for them to keep quiet, which they all understood but were still nonetheless happy. Caleb looked and saw Aldarn, Vathek, Drake, and even Julian. "Father!" Caleb exclaimed with a whisper, reaching out to touch his hand with a relieved smile. Will even saw Captain Black. "Hey Captain, sorry it took so long." She noticed the black eye on his face, as well as the bruises and cuts. "Geez, you look like you've been put through the ringer." I've had worse." Black shrugged with a grin. "And Cedric hits like a wuss." This earned a small chuckle from Will. Tyner quickly approached his sleeping companion and awoke him by pressing his hand against his mouth to keep him from calling out. "Don't struggle, it's me. Tyner," he told his comrade. "Listen to me, I've been to the other side. The Guardians and their friends treated my wounds, even fed me. Everything we've been told about Earth is a lie. You must tell the others. How about after we get out of here?" Caleb suggested. With that, Will brandished the heart of Kandrakar and opened a portal inside the cell that would lead all the prisoners straight to Section 13 back on Earth. Back outside, the brawl continued to rage as the heroes threw themselves at the villains once more. Blanc continued to use the rabbit talisman to literally run circles around all the guards and Lurdans that attempted to attack him, while Viper had used the snake talisman to turn invisible, allowing her to get in and knock down the guards and Lurdans with attacks that they didn't see coming. "Twister shreds fairies," Hawkfu exclaimed as he spun his body around like a twisted, generating incredible surges of dark energy as he moved towards Cornelia, Helin, Terani, and Irma, the 4 guardians flying back to avoid the devastating attack. Terani was the first to attack with a stream of fire at Hawkfu's twister mode, but his attack seemed to bat away the flames, all the while moving closer toward her. Cornelia used this moment to catch Hawkfu by surprise as she pressed her hands on the ground to shoot up a large earth column underneath Hawkfu and send him flying through the air. While airborne, Helin and Irma combined their respective elements into a single sphere of surging storm-like power, which they used to blast Hawkfu away from the castle. Where he landed was unknown, but it was with most certainty that he would poof once he landed. Jade flew straight at Tarakudo, a shadow katana in her hand as she attempted to slice at the Oni King, only for him to fly backwards before using his telekinetic powers to throw several pieces of rubble and rocks in her direction, which Jade attempted to slice through with her shadow katana, but it proved too many for her to handle as she was knocked back and hit the ground. "Your potential only continues to grow, my former queen," Tarakudo commented, hovering over her. "It's a shame your gift is wasted. The only thing I ever wasted was my time ever working with you." Jade glared. "'Cause she's got friends who really care about her," Helin called out as she appeared and blew a powerful gust of wind from her mouth toward Tarakudo, catching him by surprise as he was blown back slightly. But he regained his senses as he faced the recovered Jade, who hovered alongside her fellow guardians. I'll give you girls credit for persistency, but you know most of your attacks won't work against me. Tarakudo told them. Oh, we know. Irma confirmed. By the way, you see where you're hovering over. Terani pointed straight down, causing Tarakudo to look in that direction as he saw he was hovering over a small garden. A garden? So what? Tarakudo brushed off. Am I supposed to be scared of a few flowers? Nope. Just some certain seeds I put in the dirt before the fight started. Cornelia channeled her powers to rapidly grow a series of plants, revealed to be a large cluster of certain white vegetables, that Cornelia exploded into a powder that got all up in Tarakudo's face. Ah, onion powder. Tarakudo coughed as green energy leaked from his eyes like usual. My eyes. It stings. He cried out before vanishing away. Toru and Cedric pressed against each other as they once again pitted their respective strength against one another. Once again, we battle for dominance, human. Cedric hissed. You may fight to see which of us is strongest, Cedric. But I fight for those I care for, something a creature like you could never understand. Toru reached down and grabbed Cedric around his waist while pressing forward to push Cedric into the nearest wall. However, Cedric was quick to recover as he raised his fists to bring them down on Toru's back, causing him to loosen his grip before smacking his tail to knock Toru back. At the same time, Uncle and Wong locked their respective magic beams together. How were you able to dissipate my barrier? Wong questioned his wizarding rival. That is for Uncle to know. Uncle replied as he drew a second blowfish with his other hand and added to the magic clash, pushing Wong's attack back. Meanwhile, Jackie leapt backwards to avoid the magic blast shot at him by Phobos before the Dark Prince moved in closer to slice at him with his sword, which Jackie ducked to avoid before sweeping his feet to knock Phobos down. However, Phobos was able to blast a point-blank magic attack to send Jackie rolling across the ground, though he recovered quickly as the glaring Phobos however in the air over him before he was suddenly blasted in the back by a stream of fire. Will blew the smoke coming from the dragon talisman like a cowboy with his gun. Bullseye. Thank you, Will. Jackie almost said her real name but saved it just in time. However, this left both of them open as Phobos suddenly flew out and ensnared Will with magic before pinning her to the nearest wall. Jackie attempted to help her, but Phobos sent another wave of magic to knock him back. Even if you manage to achieve what you came here to accomplish, I will take the. However, Phobos glanced down in surprise to see the girl he was holding down didn't have a certain jewel with her. Where is the heart of Kandrakar? You shouldn't be able to transform without it. Yeah, sorry pal, she said before revealing the monkey talisman and transforming into her real form. But you got the wrong girl. Alchemy smirked, catching Phobos completely off guard. What? This surprise was the opening Alchemy needed to use the monkey talisman again to transform into an elephant and charge Phobos, sending him flying with a thrust of her tusks. While airborne, Jackie leapt into the air and delivered a flying punch right to Phobos' face and knock him down. Right as he landed, Jackie got a message from his earpiece. Jackie, all the prisoners are out. Caleb's covering our tracks now. Good, head straight to section 13. We'll meet you there. Jackie responded before calling out to the others. It's time to go. Everyone appeared to be finishing the remaining villains off as Terani and Hei Lin combined their fire and wind powers with a Kai blast from Uncle to send Daolon Wong flying. At the same time, Jade had used a rope of shadow magic to ensnare Cedric from behind by the throat, pulling him back with Toru finishing him off with a powerful punch to the face and knock him unconscious. Irma and Cornelia had managed to knock away the remaining guards and Lurdans with their respective elements, along with Viper as Blunk ran straight to Toru and gave him the rabbit talisman. Time for big man to run fast. Blunk said. Everyone aboard. Toru said as Jackie, Viper, Uncle, and Blunk held on tight before Toru used the rabbit talisman to speed his way toward the wall, straight up and it out of the castle grounds with Jade, Irma, Hei Lin, Cornelia, and Terani joined by Alchemy, using the monkey talisman to transform into a hawk, flying right behind them. It didn't take very long for the speedy Toru and his passengers to make it to the hidden portal Will had set up for them ahead of time. They all passed through first, with Alchemy and the Guardians flying in right behind them. They're good. Will stated as the dungeons were completely cleared. All the imprisoned rebels and Section 13 agents had made it through the open portal as Caleb used the strength of the Ox talisman to punch down a series of walls and make it look like excessive force was used to break everyone out. That should cover our tracks, so it's time to go, Caleb said before he, Will, and Tyner entered the portal themselves. However, right as they entered, none of them noticed the sneaky and greedy passling known as Jeek leap into the portal right after them just as it closed. Earth. Section 13. All the freed captives cheered and celebrated, sharing high fives and even hugs with one another as they were now liberated and in the government base back on Earth. "Ah, it's good to be home," Captain Black said with a sigh. "Thanks for the assist," he told Will. "You should thank Tyner here." Will gestured toward the defecting guard. "He was the one who switched sides and led us to you." "Well, Tyner, thank you," Captain Black told him sincerely. "You saved not only myself, but my agents, and even former enemies. We could use someone like you in this fight. I would be honored." Tyner shook Captain Black's hand with a smile of his own. "Okay, maybe I was wrong about him," Caleb admitted as he stood alongside Cornelia. "Guess not everything is so black and white. And if someone who used to work for Phobos can change, then there's still hope for Elion," Cornelia said. "We even got our own double agents who are gonna keep a close eye on Elion till we rescue her," Terani added. "Yep, all in all, I'd call this a solid victory," Irma said. "All right everyone, for all you first-timers, welcome to Section 13. Captain Black announced to everyone. "From this point forward, this will be your base. We'll do what we can to train you with our weaponry and gather all your scattered allies from Meridian. But first, it's time to celebrate with a nice hot meal. My treat." That received a standing ovation from all the rebels and agents present as Captain Black turned towards the Guardians, Chan Clan, Caleb, Viper, and Blanc. "You guys too, you know you've earned it. How can we say no to free food?" Viper joked as she lightly elbowed Jackie, who couldn't help but smile and laugh himself. However, despite the celebrations, all the gathered heroes were completely oblivious to the hidden Jeek around the corner as he chuckled evilly. Later that day, Will met Matt in the park, snow lightly falling from the sky as they greeted each other. "Hey," Matt waved. "Hey," Will waved back. "You look like you've been through the ringer," Matt said, noting how tired Will appeared to be. "Oh, things were pretty crazy these last few days," Will replied. "Mr. Huggles that much trouble?" Matt asked. No trouble at all," Will replied. "In fact, my mom instantly fell in love with him, so, yep. I'd say he's a keeper. Thanks again for that." "Hey, season of giving," Matt joked, referring to all the Christmas lights all around them. As the two shared a laugh, they were taken by surprise as a sudden mistletoe fell in between them, tied by a string to a tree branch hanging over them. They both looked at it in surprise with red cheeks, though Will grumbled as she knew who was behind this. "Jade, I'm so gonna get you back for this." "Oh, a mistletoe," Matt noted awkwardly. "I mean, we don't have to do what people do under it, if you don't want to." Do you want to?" Will asked nervously, toying with her hair. I mean, why wouldn't I? You're great, probably the coolest girl I ever met." Matt rambled, blushing along with her. "Not to mention pretty, and..." He was caught off guard as Will wrapped her arms around him and pressed her lips against his. Though surprised by this, he returned the kiss himself and pulled her in close. As they shared their moment, the invisible Jade, courtesy of the snake talisman, pumped her fist as she hanged back behind a nearby tree. "Hey, what kind of bestie would I be if I didn't help set my BFF up with her crush?" she thought to herself with a triumphant smirk. A jolly J-Witch Xmas. It was Christmas Eve in the North Pole, a place of magic and wonder where little elves would make all the presents for all the little boys and girls of the holidays, for the big and jolly Santa Claus to magically deliver in one night. At least that's what commercialism has been selling for a long time. In actuality, the only building that appeared to be visible in the icy tundra of the Arctic was a large temple that seemed to resemble something of a church that mixed Greek, Russian, and even German architecture. Within the confines of the church were many green-robed individuals, their faces covered by their hoods as they went about their normal business like any other day, holiday or not. However, the peaceful tranquility was interrupted by a sudden column of dark blue smoke that emerged from outside the temple, which cleared to reveal the appearance of Daolon Wong and Cedric in his massive serpent-like form. "This had better be worth it, wizard," Cedric hissed. "Saint Nicholas's power is unlike any other wizard in this world. How do you think he's managed to survive so long?" Wong told him. "But even his power is trivial, to our true objective." Before they could proceed, however, their way was blocked by a bright flash of light, and all the green-robed individuals from inside had stood in front of them. "You are trespassing," the leader of the group spoke. "Leave now." Cedric grinned as he moved closer toward the leader. "Oh, I don't believe you know to whom you are speaking, do you? Allow me to show you." He raised one fist, only for the hooded figure to wave his hand and erect a white energy barrier and block Cedric's attack before flashing his other hand to blast Cedric back with a blast of similar energy. Elf magic. Wong's eyes narrowed at the enemy, who removed their hoods to reveal their pointy ears and the fact they were indeed elves. The leader was also an elf, had long auburn hair and sideburns with blue eyes. The elves proceed to blast beams of their magic toward Wong and Cedric. The latter braced himself with his arms and tanked the blasts, though he was knocked back by the force, while Wong shielded himself with his dark magic before returning fire with blasts of his own power. The elves scattered around the area as they tried to circle the evil duo and fired several blasts of their magic at once. But Wong casted an even larger barrier around himself and Cedric before beams of dark magic shot up from the top of his barrier and showered around the elves. Several were knocked down, but the leader was able to dodge most of it with graceful agility. Suddenly, the snowy ground exploded from under him as Cedric, who had used Wong's cover to tunnel underneath the snow, shot up from the snow with a punch to knock the leader into the air and send him crashing to the ground. "What is going on out here?" A booming voice cut through the battle as all eyes set upon the entrance of the temple as someone else stepped outside. He was a large man, wearing a long thick red coat over his body with white fur trim. He had long white hair and a beard with blue eyes as he shot a glare toward the two intruders. "You too. I recognize the evil intent in your eyes," the man said in a Russian accent. "You have harmed my friends, invaded my home. I suggest you leave before I teach you some discipline." "Ah, Saint Nicholas," Wong said with a sneer. "I'm afraid that we must decline your offer. You have something my friend and I need, and we will not be leaving till we have it." "Discipline it is, then." Saint Nicholas's fists began to glow with the same white energy as his elf companions before bringing them together to blast at Wong, who attempted to shield himself yet again, but Nicholas's magic proved too much as his shield was shattered and it sent Wong skidding across the snowy ground. Cedric was next as he roared while charging at Nicholas to deliver a punch, but Nicholas backflipped to avoid the fist before ducking under Cedric's tail swipe. He then quickly closed the distance and delivered a brutal hook to Cedric's face, his fist still coated in white magic, with that single punch enough to knock Cedric down. However, the snow underneath St. Nicholas suddenly turned black, due to Wong's magic, as a series of elongated hands made from black snow shot toward Nicholas, which he attempted to fend off by bringing his magic-coated fists together for a shockwave of said magic to blow them away. However, this also left him open for Cedric to come at him from behind and grab him by his head before throwing him back into his temple. The massive shapeshifter soon shot into the temple after Nicholas with Wong not far behind. However, Daolon Wong stopped to see the elves, having recovered, attempting to run in after them. "Sorry, but this is a private party." Wong sneered before casting a powerful dark spell that encompassed the whole temple in a dome of dark magic. "And to all a good night." He laughed before entering the confines of his sealed temple. Immediately, the elves tried to blast their way through the dome with their magic, only for it to bounce off like water on stone. "We cannot get through," one of the elves exclaimed before turning to his leader. "Elvin, if Nicholas is defeated, then the demon." "It will not happen," the leader of the elves, known as Elvin, stated. "If we cannot get through this barrier, then it is time to get in touch with some old friends." Heatherfield. It was the holiday spirit as the city of Heatherfield was decorated with colorful lights and wreaths. Parks were lined with Christmas trees as they, and even all the natural ones were decorated with lights and ornaments. The people in the city seemed just as festive as one would expect on Christmas Eve. Even Uncle's Rare Finds was highly decorated as the elderly store owner bid farewell to the last of his customers. "Thank you. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye." Uncle waved, a Santa hat on his head, as he closed the door. Inside, Not only was the Chan clan helping to decorate and set up for an upcoming party, all the girls, as well as Yanlin and even Caleb were helping to set up. Already the Christmas tree was set up and decorated for the most part, with the tables being arranged with food and drinks being prepared in the back. Is Uncle alright? He seems friendly. Cornelia commented. I feel like I've stepped into an alternate universe or something. He's probably just running a fever. Jade said. Girls, Uncle loves Christmas. Jackie told them. It is when sales are best. He said to them in a not-so-subtle whisper, only to receive a dope slap on the forehead from his uncle. Ow. Commercialism not important. Christmas spirit is, Uncle said before placing his hat on his nephew's head. So, this Christmas, Caleb tried to get an understanding of it. It's where you all trade presents with each other. Well, the holiday itself has a lot of different meanings to it, sometimes even religious. Terani tried to explain. But for the most part, it's a time when families and friends come together. And yeah, they do exchange gifts, but I think everyone just having a good time is what's most important. You don't have anything like Christmas in Meridian, Caleb? Alchemy asked. We have times when our friends and family gather together. Caleb replied. But no holidays or anything dedicated to it, especially not since Phobos came to power. Well, when we take down that Grinch in training and all his pals, we'll be sure to introduce this holiday to your world. Irma said as she put an arm around him in a friendly fashion. Hey, yeah, with all the gloom and doom they've had to deal with, bringing Christmas to Meridian sounds like a great idea. Hey Lin beamed. We might even do the same thing with all the rebels in Section 13. Captain Black is already hosting a party for them now. Jackie said, walking over. After everything they've endured, they could use some levity. Caleb smiled. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Meanwhile, Will was on the phone with a certain someone. You sure you can't come? Everyone's inviting their families, you could too. She heard a response. Okay, it's cool. I get it. Well, you and your family have fun. Merry Christmas, Matt. She hung up. Someone's bright and happy today. Jade remarked with a friendly smirk. And I don't think it's all because of the Christmas spirit. Of course, you'd know about that. Will smirked back knowingly. I got no idea what you're talking about. Jade sang as she tried to put on an innocent facade with puppy dog eyes. Sure, you don't. Will playfully pushed her best friend in the side, earning a chuckle from Jade. Toru and Yanlin soon walked out from the back room with all sorts of food and sweets in their hands, Toru carrying the most as they set them down on the table. And dinner is just about ready. Yanlin said as she placed a large turkey down. We even have mother's recipe. Toru added as he put down a plate of cookies. Uncle winced but tried to put on a smile for his apprentice's sake. Why yes. And, we will be, so happy, to see her for the holidays, Toru. You can totally tell that smile is fake. Cornelia whispered. I'm actually looking forward to seeing her. Terani said. I kinda like Mrs. Toru. Yeah, because she's a total badass. Irma added. Don't forget, all our families are coming here. It's gonna be a lot of fun to have everyone together. Hey Lin beamed excitedly. Even my parents are coming to join us. Jade also added. Can't wait to introduce them to all of you. She said to her friends. Jackie smiled toward his niece, happy at how excited she was to introduce the rest of her family to her parents. I'm sure they'll be happy to meet your friends as well, Jade. That all smells delicious. Caleb commented, looking toward the spread of food. I'm surprised a certain Pasling hasn't eaten everything already. Blunk's actually staying at Section 13 for the holidays. Will said. Seeing how all our parents are coming, and they got no idea about all this magic stuff we've been up to, pretty sure they'd be a little freaked at seeing a living garbage disposal like Blunk. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Alchemy agreed. But don't forget, not all the sweets can be eaten. Toru said. We have to leave some out for you know who. Who? Jackie asked, causing Toru to wince as he glanced towards the girls, causing Jackie to gasp slightly, catching Toru's hint. Oh, I mean, I'm sure Santa will be very hungry tonight. Who is Santa? Caleb asked. Just some make-believe guy kids think of during the holiday. Cornelia shrugged. Make-believe? Lin exclaimed in shock, with Jackie and Toru also looking in surprise. Cornelia, you do not believe in Santa Claus? Toru questioned. Who does anymore? Jade added, indicating she didn't believe either. I kind of figured that out after the whole tooth fairy incident, Jackie. She looked toward her uncle with a smirk. I told you the tooth fairy was sick, and I was filling in. Jackie said. Come on, we're old enough to know. Will said. My mom gave me the Santa's not real talk when I was 11. I got that talk when I was 8. Irma added. I kind of figured it out on my own. Terani also said. Wait, none of you believe in Santa. Haylin exclaimed, looking at her friends as if they had just suddenly turned into cows. Haylin, come on. A big guy who uses flying reindeer to pull a magic sleigh all over the world and deliver presents to every single boy and girl in the world in less than 24 hours. Terani asked rhetorically. That does sound kinda hard to believe. Caleb had to admit. Not to mention he's been doing this for hundreds of years. Alchemy added. Sorry Haylin, but I think you're outnumbered here. Oh, so you guys are willing to believe in whole other worlds, wizards, and even demons, yet you don't believe in Santa. Haylin questioned. Come on, we all know magic is real. We've all got magic powers for Pete's sake. Yeah well, unless someone with actual magic expertise tells me otherwise, I still don't believe. Cornelia commented. I'm afraid they are correct, Haylin. Yanlin spoke to her granddaughter, placing a hand on her shoulder. Santa Claus is just a story made up by commercialism. Haylin looked down dejectedly, causing Jackie and Toru to look at her with pity. However, Saint Nicholas is very real. And who is this Saint Nicholas? Caleb asked. He's the person Santa was based off. Will said. He lived a long time ago. Still lives, actually. Uncle said. We have met Nicholas. Good man. Hold on a second, you guys think Santa is real? Irma questioned, only for Uncle to deliver a dope slap to her forehead. Ow. Not Santa Claus. Saint Nicholas. Uncle chastised. Clean wax out of ears. But Uncle, Saint Nicholas was born in the 3rd century during the time of the Roman Empire. Jackie told him, even if he did exist, how could he have lived for so long? Magic can do many things, Jackie. Yanlin told him, especially the kind of magic he was taught to use. Before the conversation could continue, there was a doorbell ring that came from the front door. It's a little early for everyone to be showing up. Terani said as Toru was the first to answer the door, thinking it was his mother. Mommy. He grasped the individual in the form of a hug and kissed them repeatedly on the forehead until he realized that it was not his mother, but a certain robed elf that he did not recognize. I'm afraid not, the elf said as Toru set him down. I apologize for the intrusion. He spoke to the surprised group of people. Can we help you, sir? Jackie asked. Elvin. It is good to see you. Uncle said as he and Yanlin approached the elf with friendly smiles as they shook hands with him. Jin, Yanlin, I am glad to see you too as well. Elvin shook their hands with a smile as well. Ah, all these years and you have not aged a day. Yanlin smiled while patting his cheeks. I sure could use some of the immortality that you elves are so known for. Elves. Nearly everyone exclaimed in shock. Elvin smirked towards the former guardian. I still see the same spirited young woman from all those years ago. And I believe you will outlive us all, you are far too stubborn to die. Oh, you flatter me. Yanlin chuckled while patting him on the back. Excuse us, but who the heck is this guy? Jade questioned. Is this guy really an elf? Will questioned. He's got the pointy ears and the fancy robes and long hair, either he's cosplaying as Elrond, or he's the real deal. Irma commented. Hello young guardians, as well as Jackie Chan, Toru, and friends. Elvin said with a formal bow. Yes, I am indeed an elf. My name is Elvin. Hello, Jackie waved in surprise. Wait, you know who we are. How do you know they're guardians? Caleb questioned suspiciously, taking a combat stance. Did Phobos send you? Ow. He felt his forehead where Uncle slapped him. Elves are not native to Meridian. He cannot serve Phobos. Uncle chastised. You don't have to worry, I promise. Yanlin said. Elvin is an old friend of ours. He and Saint Nicholas helped out my old team of guardians when I wasn't that much older than all of you. Hold on a second, Cornelia exclaimed. You're telling me that Santa Claus is real? Well, yes and no. Elvin explained. The character named Santa Claus is indeed fictional, as is his feats and abilities, such as delivering presents to children on Christmas Eve. However, Saint Nicholas is a real individual. He was born in Greece in the year 270 AD during the time of the Roman Empire, but after his meeting with my kind, he has gained the ability to use our magic as well as our immortality by extension. Ha! I told you guys he was real. Lynn said to all her friends. Well, we were still right about the Santa who delivers presents not being real. Terani put in. And you're his elves? Jade questioned, taking another good look at the tall elf that stood before her. I thought you guys were supposed to be like those cute little elves that make toys, not the Lord of the Rings type. Again, that is all based off commercialism like the concept of Santa. Elvin added. Okay, we've all dealt with some pretty crazy things up to this point, yet this somehow still surprises us. Alchemy commented. So, what can we do you for, Mr. Elvin? Jackie asked, still not quite sure of what to make of all this. Why do I have a sneaking suspicion you are not here to celebrate the holidays with us? Yan Lin asked as well. Elvin's look became deathly serious. I am afraid that Nicholas is in great danger. That got everyone's attention. I believe that you are familiar with these two individuals. He twirled his hands to generate a magical illusion of a certain dark wizard and shapeshifter. Uncle gasped. Daolong Wang, Cedric. Caleb's eyes narrowed as well. Indeed. Elvin confirmed. They attacked our monastery in the Arctic. So, you guys do live in the North Pole. Lin pointed out. Yes, we do, but that is not important now. Elvin confirmed. Daolong Wang and Cedric have sealed off the monastery with dark magic that my elven brethren and I cannot penetrate. Nicholas is holding them back as we speak, but I fear he may not succeed. This Daolong Wang especially is a tricky one. The dark magic he meddles with is not to be trifled with. Yeah, trust us, we're familiar enough with what he can do. Will said. Why would Phobos send Daolong Wang and Cedric to attack St. Nicholas? Jackie wondered. I don't think they're trying to get revenge for years of coal in their stockings. Jade said, trying to put some humor into the story. They are most likely seeking the extraordinary power of Nicholas's magic. Yan Lin assumed before her eyes widened in terror. But, if that magic is taken. Uncle had come to the same conclusion. Yes, the extra power from Nicholas is most likely a side benefit. Elvin said. The true intent of those two vile ones, may be to free Krampus. While Uncle and Yan Lin exchanged looks of horror, nearly everyone, particularly the girls and Caleb, looked confused. Who? Cornelia asked. What's a Krampus? Caleb also asked. Isn't he supposed to be some make-believe Christmas demon? Like a holiday bogeyman? Toru asked. There's a demon for Christmas. Alchemy questioned. When Christmas was first thought of, the original story were that there were two individuals that come at night on Christmas Eve. Jackie explained. One was Santa Claus, who would deliver presents to all the good children, while those who were naughty were visited by Krampus, who would take the children away. I've heard about that too. Terani nodded. I don't think anybody knows where the myth of Krampus even came from. So, wait, if you were good you get presents, but if you were bad, a demon kidnaps you. Irma exclaimed. Yeah, give me a lump of coal over that any day. Cornelia added. I'm afraid it's quite worse than that. Elvin began to tell the story. Long ago, in the ancient world, before Christmas was even conceived, Krampus roamed the world for only one night, the night of the 24th day of December, when winter was at its coldest. The demon would comb the world, looking for the souls of children. As most of you know, the soul of a child is pure upon birth. However, the environment the child grows up in can also corrupt that soul, and they would develop feelings of anger, greed, fear, and other such forms of negativity. Now, every human can experience some form of negativity throughout their lives, but sometimes, a child can be consumed by those feelings, and they can corrupt the child's soul. This draws Krampus to them when he roams the earth for that one night. He steals the corrupted souls of those children to feed his power, while also consuming their flesh for sustenance. That caused everyone to look in shock and horror. He actually eats kids. Will practically screamed. Yes. Elvin nodded gravely. And has done so for thousands of years. However, in his youth, Saint Nicholas learned of this and vowed to stop Krampus, believing that even the corrupted souls of children can still be saved. But no mortal man could stop such a monster. So, he came to us, and we trained him in the ways of our magic. Once he had what he needed, my clan and I joined Nicholas and ventured into the Arctic, the home of Krampus, and sealed him in his own tomb. Krampus lives in the North Pole too. Hey Lin questioned. It was his domain at first. Elvin continued to explain. Krampus thrives in the cold, hence why he roams the world in the coldest night of winter. Throughout the rest of the year, he slumbers in a tomb of cold and darkness deep within the Arctic. Can't imagine global warming's going to help with that. Alchemy said with a gulp. The magic Nicholas and my brethren used to seal him away keeps him in a frozen state of suspended animation. Elvin assured. So even if global warming melts away the Arctic completely in the worst-case scenario, Krampus will remain sealed. Magic must undo magic, after all. See, Uncle said with a grin, causing everyone to roll their eyes. Once Krampus was sealed away, we built a monastery over his tomb. Elvin concluded his story. While we can go out into the world throughout most of the year, we must return to the monastery on Christmas Eve, just to be certain that Krampus can never return. But, why would Daolon Wong and Cedric want to free Krampus? Terani asked. Seeing how you have a history with those two, I can only imagine they would free the demon to devour you. Elvin pointed to the 6 guardians specifically, much to everyone's horror. They wants Krampus to eat us. Hey Lin screamed. I've had demons try to eat me before, not a big fan. Jade put in. Jackie's fists clenched with anger. The thought of their enemies purposely freeing a monster to eat his niece, as well as these girls, alive was enough to make his blood boil. We cannot let that happen. Elvin, I insist you take us to the Arctic immediately. I agree. Nicholas may not last very long. Elvin nodded. Wait, but what about the party? Will asked. Won't all our parents wonder where we are? You leave them to me. Yan Lin assured. We got some time before they arrive. And I can just tell them that you went out to have a snowball fight. Thanks Grandma. Hey Lin smiled. Alright, now let's go save Christmas. Alchemy pumped her fist. This Krampus guy might have eaten kids before, but let's see him choke on some guardian power. Irma smirked. And we've got a little experience fighting demons too. Terani added with her own confident smile. Don't worry Elvin, Will told him. We've taken on these two before, we can do it again. I'm coming too. Caleb stepped up. No way I'll let Cedric or Wong get away with this. I will come as well. Toru also stepped forward. I will not allow these girls to face such a monster alone. Magic shall defeat magic. Uncle volunteered too. Hold on a second. Jade spoke up. If Krampus is really as hyped up as you say, J-Witch might need some extra muscle. Cornelia smirked as he had a good idea where she was going with this. Looks like we're getting the whole gang in on this. We need the J team. Jade stated. Then there is no time to waste. Jackie said. Elvin, can you take us to where we need to go? Tell me where, and I will have us there as soon as possible. Elvin nodded before reading his magic. His hands glowed white as a magical snow-like whirlwind blew around himself, which expanded to encompass Jackie, Will, Jade, Uncle, Haylin, Cornelia, Irma, Terani, Caleb, Alchemy, and Toru before they all vanished completely, leaving Yan Lin alone in the shop, where all she could do was hope for the best. The Arctic, St. Nicholas's Monastery. White magic collided with dark magic as St. Nicholas brought his fists together to create a blast of his own magic, which collided with Wong's dark powers that emanated from his scepter. However, the raw power of Nicholas's magic was too much for Daolon Wong to handle as it overcame his dark magic and sent him flying to a nearby wall. Cedric attempted to come in from behind, raising his massive fists with a roar, but just as he brought them down, Nicholas had leapt into the air above Cedric and delivered an axe kick to Cedric's face, disorienting him. Nicholas landed and immediately went on the attack, his fists coated in his white magic as he punched Cedric across the face, in his gut, and gave him an uppercut to knock him back. Even as Cedric and Wong recovered, Nicholas stood in between them, unwilling to back down as he glared at both his foes. I admit, he is a strong one, Cedric hissed. Your physical prowess, combined with your mastery of elf magic has indeed made you a formidable opponent, St. Nicholas. Wong told him, but we will take your power, and with it, free the beast that lays beneath. If you believe you can control Krampus, you are a fool. Nicholas chastised. He is monster who lives only to feed, nothing more. If we cannot control him, then we need simply aim at a certain group of young individuals and let him do the work. Wong sneered. The current guardians of the Veil have been thorns in our side for too long. Cedric stated. It is time we remove them from our side permanently. Nicholas glared as he tightened his fists. You would purposely set Krampus loose to devour those innocent girls. I will not allow that. He went on the attack again, but Wong was prepared this time. Zen. With a wave of his scepter, Daolan Wong had summoned the Dark Kai warrior Hawk Fu in front of him, who was able to catch Nicholas's fist before knocking him back with a kick. Powerful you may be, Saint. But you are still a man, and my greatest warrior has strength beyond any other warrior. Wong praised Hawk Fu, who only chuckled evilly as he approached the recovering Nicholas. Maybe you can provide me a challenge, old man. Hawk Fu said before rushing Nicholas. Freight train derails reindeer. With body coating in dark blue energy and moving like a meteor, Saint Nicholas tried to raise a barrier of his white magic to protect himself, but Hawk Fu's raw strength and power was enough to shatter it and send him flying through a pillar before rolling across the ground, though he was quick to get on his feet and blast Hawk Fu with his magic. Demon plows snow. Hawk Fu punched the blasts of magic away before moving in closer toward Nicholas, who did his best to avoid the devastating punches that obliterated all the pillars. Nicholas had to find cover and shake his unnaturally strong adversary. As he did, however, Daolan Wong walked toward the pile of broken stone and snickered evilly as he began to cast a spell over it. Nicholas found himself backed against a wall as Hawk Fu attempted to deliver a fatal punch. Grinch steals Christmas. Nicholas veered out of the way just in time as Hawk Fu's fist impacted the wall. Suddenly appearing behind him, Nicholas blasted his magic at Hawk Fu's back and sent him into the wall, causing it to crumble over him. He didn't have much time to celebrate, however, as a series of demonic serpents shot from all around him, having been conjured up from the rubble of the pillars thanks to Daolan Wong's magic. Nicholas tried to shake them off, but Cedric had used this opportunity to grab Nicholas by his arms and hoist him up just as Hawk Fu recovered before the strongest Dark Kai warrior attacked again. Demon causes indigestion. He delivered a punch to Nicholas's gut, causing him to gasp as he felt the wind knocked out of him. It wasn't enough to kill him, but enough to take the fight out of him as Cedric dropped him before the same serpents Wong had conjured coiled around him and tied him to a still intact pillar. Well done, warrior. Cedric smirked towards Hawk Fu. Now we finally have what we need. Time to awaken the beast. Daolan Wong approached Nicholas, who tried to muster up a glare before Wong began to recite a dark chant, lifting his hands to reveal open mouths with serrated teeth in his palms. As he chanted, streams of white magic began to leave Nicholas's body and enter Wong's through his mouth palms. As the process continued, deep below the monastery, within the darkest pit in the Arctic, something began to stir. A sensation began to stir something from its long and enforced slumber as the sensation of hunger slowly but surely began to fill its body. Suddenly, a pair of glowing red eyes began to open. Meanwhile, outside the monastery, the elves tried with all their might to break through Daolan Wong's dark magic barrier. They could already feel it. They could feel Nicholas's power draining, and once it was gone, nothing could stop the awakening of the monster they all feared. Their attempts were halted by a sudden gust of wind-like magic as Elvin returned with reinforcements consisting of Jackie, Will, Jade, Irma, Heylin, Cornelia, Terani, Toru, Uncle, El Toro Fuerte, Viper, Caleb, Alchemy, and Paco. Whoa, you weren't kidding. Viper commented upon the group seeing the temple before them. Not so much a workshop but more like a church. Elvin. One of the elves approached him. You've brought aid. What is the situation? Elvin asked. Terrible, I am afraid. The elf reported. We cannot penetrate the barrier, and we feel Nicholas's power draining by the second. Once his power is stolen completely, Krampus will awaken. Elvin finished with a grave expression. Do not worry, we are here to help. Jackie assured. We will stop Daolan Wong and Cedric, as well as save St. Nicholas. And even if the Christmas boogeyman wakes up, we'll put him right back to sleep. Courtesy of J-Witch, Jade began with a smirk. And the J-Team. Paco finished as they exchanged a high five. Do not just stand there. Get cracking, Uncle yelled. Will immediately brandished the heart of Kandrakar and said the magic words. Guardians unite. In yet another flashy transformation, the 6 girls had transformed into their respective guardian forms and were already ready for battle. Elvin couldn't help himself but smiling reminiscently, remembering working alongside Yan Lin's team of guardians a long time ago. It was heartwarming to see this new generation take the mantle. But he quickly got back to the crisis at hand. Quickly, if you can open the barrier. Do it now, he stated. On it, will brandish the heart of Kandrakar and channel the power of the seal of Phobos within to begin dissolving the dark magic barrier around the monastery. Meanwhile, inside the temple, the process of extracting Nicholas's magic appeared to be finished as the final trails of white magic entered Wang's mouth palms. Yes, Wang sneered. I can feel his power flowing through me. His eyes widened slightly. The barrier has fallen. Which means the guardians and Chan are here. Right on time, Cedric hissed with an evil grin. Then it is time to finally crush their skulls beneath my feet. Hak Fu stated. You may claim those of Chan and whatever adult allies he has with him. Wang told his warrior. As for the children, I'm afraid their fate is all but sealed now. The dark magic dome had just been dropped completely, with J-Witch, the J-Team, and their many allies about to charge right in. Alright everyone, be ready for. Jackie was interrupted however as Daolan Wang, Cedric, and Hak Fu left the monastery to face them. Greetings, old friends, Cedric hissed. We are so glad you could join us for your final night. What have you Grinches done with the big red guy? Hei Lin demanded. Saint Nicholas lives, for now. Daolan Wang nodded before he hovered in the air, a powerful aura that mixed dark and white magics began to encircle him. His magic however. He has Nicholas's magic, Elvin exclaimed. Iya, that means. Uncle's eyes widened in shock. Awaken, Krampus. Wang shouted as he casted a large surge of dark magic on the snowy ground that separated him and his allies from the heroes. Less than a second with the spell being cast, the ground began to shake, almost as if a small earthquake had hit the area. Something is coming, El Toro said with a serious expression. Something big. The shaking stopped just as a massive, clawed hand shot up from the ice and snow, grabbing onto the ground just as a second claw emerged and began to pull the body of a large figure upwards and out of the ice and snow. The figure that stood before the shocked and surprised heroes was at least 15 feet tall. It was covered in black fur with large goat-like hooves for feet, clawed hands with a muscular frame. Chains wrapped around its arms and body, while draping off his back like a cape of sorts. Long curved ram-like horns came from its head as the demonic monster set its red and soulless eyes on the heroes before emitting an ear-splitting roar, forcing everyone to cover their ears. So, I'm guessing that's Krampus. Cornelia stated over the roar just as it stopped. He's a whole lot bigger than I thought he'd be. Alchemy gulped. Krampus sniffed the air as he set his eyes on not only the 6 guardians that hovered in front of him, but even Paco and Alchemy. His tongue licked his fanged face as a wicked smile formed. Children, it hissed before rushing at the group in a surprise bout of speed, forcing everyone to separate and avoid getting snatched by the demon's massive claws. Krampus set its eyes upon Will before he sent his chains her way, almost telekinetically. She was unable to avoid them as the chains ensnared her and pulled her close toward him, grabbing her with his massive hands once she was close enough. Before he could chow down however. Hey! Jade suddenly flew in, a shadow katana in hand as she sliced at Krampus' arms, forcing him to release Will and turn his attention toward her. My BFF is off limits. She showered him with streams of shadow fire to knock him back, before he was later pelted from behind by fireballs from Tyranny. Big demon boy hungry for something. Well, eat this. Irma exclaimed as she added to Tyranny's bombardment with a stream of water, and Hei Lin added to that with a cyclone of wind. With all 4 attacks keeping Krampus pinned, Cornelia added the final touch with a large boulder she pulled from the ground before throwing it at Krampus to send him skidding across the ground. Oh, and we're not children, pal. Cornelia told him with a smirk. We're teenagers. So, I think we might spoil your appetite. Krampus quickly recovered and flashed the 6 girls a glare before rushing at them again, forcing them to scatter and fly around him, pelting him with whatever elemental attack they had at their disposal. Girls. Jackie was about to run to their aid, only for Cedric to block his path and bring his left fist toward him, forcing Jackie to leap back and avoid it. Jackie, it's okay. Will called to him as she avoided Krampus' chains before flying down to kick him in the face. We got this. We're guardians, remember? Yeah, let us handle tall, dark and ugly. Jade added as she sliced at him with her shadow katana. Before Jackie could offer a response, Cedric tried to take advantage of his momentary distraction, only for the large snake man to be knocked back as El Toro Fuerte had ran to ram his elbow into his side. Jackie, my friend, they are correct. El Toro told him. You know these girls can handle themselves, even against a child-devouring demon. Let them deal with it, while we deal with the monster who set it free. And we got experience fighting monsters too, remember handsome? Viper asked as she ran to Jackie's side, with Caleb joining them as he drew his katana. The girls can handle Krampus, we got Cedric. The young rebel leader added. Deep down, Jackie knew they were right. He'd seen how much these girls had grown in their short time as guardians, especially Jade. They had each other's backs and were a real team. They could indeed handle Krampus. Very well, Jackie said with a nod as the four of them faced the recovering Cedric. Then let us end this. We have a holiday to celebrate. With that declaration, Cedric gave a roar as he rushed the four heroes again, who charged back with yells of their own. Meanwhile, Uncle drew his blowfish and fired a blast of Kai magic towards the hovering Daolan Wang, but he merely erected a barrier of white magic to easily protect himself. Foolish novice, the elf magic is far beyond your simple parlor tricks. Wang gloated. Now I have twice the power I normally wield. You cannot. He was suddenly pulled to the ground by Paco, who had leapt to grab him before leaping higher to wrap his arms around the back of Wang's neck before pulling back to flip him over and send him tumbling through the snow. Normally, an honorable luchador would never assault an old man. Paco smirked as he put on his luchador's mask. But I think I can make an exception with this one. Daolan Wang snarled as he recovered, only to be caught in the middle of a ring of the elves led by Elvin, who all shot blasts of their magic at him. Wang however erected a large magic barrier around himself in defense, one strong enough to hold off the bombardment. Sensei, how can we stop this? Toru asked as he and Alchemy regrouped alongside him and Paco. Wang was already a threat before, but with twice the magic. Daolan Wang has stolen the magic of Saint Nicholas. Uncle explained. If we are to defeat not only him, but also Krampus, Nicholas's magic must be returned. You think maybe you got a fancy Kai spell that can do that? Alchemy asked. I know of such a spell, but I must require hair from both Daolan Wang and Saint Nicholas. Uncle replied. Alright. Toru nodded in understanding, formulating a plan. Alchemy, Paco, you two go inside the monastery and find Saint Nicholas. Tell him what has happened and get a piece of his hair. The rest of us will keep Wang busy and try to take some of his. You can count on El Paco Fuerte and his protege. Paco declared. Protege? You mean like a sidekick? Alchemy questioned in irritation. Suddenly, Elvin and his brethren were blasted back by a powerful shockwave that was revealed from a sudden landing from the dark Kai warrior form of Hawk Fu, who stood alongside his hovering master. No time to argue. Go now. Uncle told the two kids, who nodded eagerly as they rushed into the monastery, leaving Uncle and Toru to face their enemies. Meanwhile, Terani flew straight into Krampus' face to blast him with a stream of fire, knocking him back while Will flew in from behind to grab the chains that draped off Krampus' back before flying around to wrap them around his arms and body, causing the demon to snarl. With him immobilized, Cornelia threw a series of seeds toward the ground before channeling her own earth powers to rapidly grow the seeds into a series of plant tendrils and vines that ensnared Krampus' legs, forcing him to trip and crash onto the ground. You packed seeds with you? Jade asked as she flew toward Cornelia. Well, duh. Plants don't grow in the Arctic. The blonde pointed out. Kinda like to come to a fight prepared. Huh, way to use your head for once. Jade snarked, slightly elbowing her, causing Cornelia to glare slightly before Jade channeled her own magic and encased the bound Krampus in a blanket of shadow magic from head to toe. Irma then flew in to completely soak it in water before Heylin unleashed a cold gust of wind from her mouth, blowing all over it to freeze the water solid, trapping Krampus under 3 layers of immobilization. Okay, so chains over shadow magic, and the whole thing is frozen over. That should hold him, right? Will asked as the Guardians regrouped. Don't really know if freezing shadows weakens or strengthens it, but yeah, that could probably do it. Terani replied. only for the ice to begin cracking before it exploded, the force causing all 6 guardians to fly back before straightening themselves out. They soon looked in shock to see Krampus glaring at them and baring his teeth. I think we only made him mad. Hey Lin winced. Yeah, when have things ever been easy for us? Irma questioned rhetorically, her own eyelids lowered. Krampus roared again as he telekinetically shot a multitude of his chains towards the girls, forcing them to fly away and avoid getting ensnared as Krampus charged. Meanwhile, inside the monastery, Alchemy and Paco appeared to find who they were looking for, still appearing unconscious and weakened, and bound by the demonic serpents. Is this Saint Nicholas? Paco asked. Well, red coat, long white beard, yep, I'd say that's our guy. Alchemy said. The serpents hissed at the two as Alchemy brandished a dried lizard. Hiss yourselves, she told them before firing a blast of Kai magic to destroy them, causing Nicholas to drop on the floor. Since when can you do that? Paco questioned. Toru taught me a basic stun spell. Alchemy replied. I mean, I'm no wizard or even an apprentice yet, but it's something. They quickly went and helped Saint Nicholas up as he began to groan, a sign of awakening. His eyes slowly opened as he noticed the 2 children around him. Where did you come from? Hi Mr. Claus, oh, sorry I mean Saint Nick. Alchemy waved in an excited yet nervous tone. Man, I can't believe it, Santa Claus, he's real, and he's right in front of me. She almost squealed in excitement before shaking her head to get serious. My name is Alchemy, Elvin brought me and my friends here to help you. Saint Nicholas's eyes widened as he quickly pulled himself up. Krampus. He's awake. Paco told him. Our friends are holding him back. They're the Guardians, I'm sure you've heard of them, and they've got the J-team to back them up, but Guardians or no, they don't have the means to seal Krampus. Saint Nicholas shook his head gravely. But we've got a couple Kai wizards here too. Jin-chan. Sound familiar? Alchemy reminded. He's got a spell to give you your magic back, but we're going to need some of your hair. Saint Nicholas smiled slightly. So young Jin has become a full-fledged Kai wizard. Good for him. His eyes flickered a bit upon hearing Alchemy's request. I see, I know the spell he refers to. Here. He plucked a strand of his beard off and gave it to Alchemy. Give that to Jin, I will help in facing Krampus. But weren't your powers stolen? Paco asked. Nicholas gave the boy an assuring and confident grin. Magic or no, I can still fight. Back outside, Toru and Uncle, each wielding a blowfish, shot beams of their Kai magic toward Daolong Wang, who simply waved his wand to send a wave of powerful dark magic to overpower their own stun spells and send them crashing back across the icy ground. While at the same time, Elvin and his brethren shot blasts of their own white magic toward the charging Hawk Fu, but he simply punched the ground to send up chunks of ice as a makeshift shield, while the impact itself knocked the elves down onto the ground, leaving them open for Hawk Fu to leap into the air, come soaring back down with his foot extended, forcing them to roll or dodge out of the way and avoid the devastating impact. At the same time, Jackie and his group threw everything they had at Cedric, with Jackie leaping back to avoid the tail swipe from the massive shapeshifter. As he tried to pull back his tail, however, Caleb came in and sliced at Cedric's side with his katana, causing Cedric to roar in pain before he threw a punch towards Caleb, which El Toro intercepted by coming in to grab Cedric's large hand by his wrist, using the monster's own momentum against him to flip Cedric over his person. As Cedric attempted to recover, Viper flipped over from behind and fell toward the back of his head, both of her feet shot down to kick his face deeper into the snow. The 4 of them regrouped once more as Cedric pulled himself up with a glare before charging at them again. Krampus gave a roar as he shot out dozens of chains in multiple directions, forcing the 6 guardians to fly away and defend themselves with whatever means they had. Jade used a dual pair of shadow katanas to slice and parry the chains that came close to her, while Terani and Will coming together as the former created a sphere of fire to protect both of them. Heilin had done something similar, generating an air sphere around her and spinning the winds inside with such speed and power that any chains that tried to pierce through ended up getting sliced and shredded. Irma and Cornelia, however, appeared to have the most trouble as the former tried to direct a series of water whips to block the chains, while Cornelia's vines and seeds were easily torn through before the chains struck her, knocking her toward the ground where she was quickly ensnared by them. Cornelia! Terani exclaimed as the other 5 guardians tried to fly in and help her, only for several dozen more chains to shoot out toward them, keeping them away while Krampus pulled the bound Cornelia close toward him and into his grasp. "Children," Krampus sneered as drool fell from his fangs, Cornelia trying to force herself away. "Hey, you ever head of breath mints?" she told the demon, trying to muster up some courage despite being terrified of the thought of being eaten alive. "Krampus." The booming voice echoed through the air before something struck the demon in the chest with enough force that it dropped the bound Cornelia before the same physical force broke the chains that had ensnared her as she fell back in surprise, looking at the figure that stood protectively in front of her. Even the other guardians looked in utter shock at the appearance of this man while Krampus snarled before the man rushed Krampus again to deliver a punch to his right knee, forcing it down before he grabbed Krampus by his horns and pulled his face into a knee of his own to knock him back onto the ground. "Are you all right, young lady?" St. Nicholas turned toward the still shocked Cornelia with a concerned expression, while the blonde was rendered speechless but gave a simple nod in response. "Is that?" Irma stuttered. "Oh, my." Terani also stuttered. "It's really him." Haylin practically squealed in excitement. "Santa Claus. Like, the Santa Claus," Will exclaimed. "He is real." Even Jade was more than a little shocked. Nicholas chuckled. "Santa Claus is a name made up by commercialism. I am Saint Nicholas, but you can just call me Nicholas if you want." He offered Cornelia a hand, which she took as he helped her stand to her feet while the other guardians came in and looked in mixtures of excitement and surprise. "I knew it. I knew you were real," Haylin exclaimed like a giddy little child and almost squealed as Nicholas patted her head before he did the same to each of the girls one by one from Will to Jade, Irma, Cornelia, and Terani. "You girls have all done well," Nicholas told them as they saw Krampus recovering, with the guardians ready for a fight, but Nicholas stepped forward first. "But this is my fight, I'll handle it." But wasn't your magic stolen?" Will questioned. "Magic isn't my only strength," St. Nicholas assured as he discarded his coat, as well as his shirt to reveal his bare upper body, which was covered in thick and well-developed muscles, from the arms to the biceps, even a six-pack on his abs, much to the guardians' shock. "Dude, Santa's jacked," Irma exclaimed. "Not at all the pudgy jolly guy we've seen in the movies," Jade muttered. Nicholas glared directly toward the snarling Krampus. "Hope you enjoyed your brief respite of freedom, creature. Because I am sending you back to the pit where you belong." Krampus gave a hateful roar in response while Nicholas gave a yell of his own before rushing Krampus, who sent all his chains in his direction, but Nicholas proved quick and nimble enough to avoid them before getting close enough to leap up and deliver a hook to Krampus' jaw, and while airborne, gave a roundhouse kick to Krampus' face and knock him down with Nicholas landing behind. The second Krampus attempted to recover, Nicholas rushed him with a yell as he punched Krampus in the face repeatedly before grabbing him by the back of his head to deliver two knees to his face again. He then grabbed Krampus by his horns and spun around to pull the demon's massive body before letting him go to send him tumbling through the snow. Krampus, however, quickly recovered with a roar before going on the attack again. Nearly all the other battles came to a halt as they saw St. Nicholas continue to engage Krampus with nothing more than physical force. "Whoa, Santa's got game," Viper commented before she and the rest of the J-team used Cedric's distraction as an opening to push further. She was the first to attack by being tossed into the air by El Toro, delivering a flying kick to Cedric's face and knock him down, with Jackie meeting his head as he came down with a handstand and a double kick. Caleb ran up his chest to slice at Cedric all over with his katana, causing him to roar in pain while El Toro gave his signature luchador yell as he rushed to deliver a powerful headbutt into Cedric's gut, knocking the wind out of him and sending him crashing into the icy ground. "Nicholas is free," Daolan Wang questioned. "That cannot, ah." He gave a suddenly cry as Paco had appeared behind him to yank off a chunk of his hair. "You should really watch your back," Paco told him with a smirk, while Alchemy used this momentary distraction to deliver a stun spell to Wang and knock him back before they ran toward Uncle and Toru. "We got the hair from both of them," Alchemy said as she presented a stand of St. Nicholas's beard with Paco presenting his recently acquired chunk of Wang's hair. "Good, watch Uncle's back while he prepares reversal spell." He sat down with both stands of hair in his hands and began to recite a chant. "Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao." Back with the elves, Elvin and his brethren did their best to keep Hawk Fu at bay, but he seemed to be far too strong for them as he had beaten most of them down and yanked Elvin up by his robe. I wonder what one would call an elf who loses his ears. Hawk Fu sneered, but before he could do anything, he was suddenly blasted back by a fireball from Tyranny, freeing Elvin. Thank you. Elvin turned with a smile toward Tyranny, Irma, and Heylin who just arrived to provide help. He is far too strong for us. Don't worry, we've handled this guy before, Heylin assured. We got an idea, can you blast him into the air and keep him there? Tyranny asked the elf. For a short time, yes. Elvin nodded. Then get it done, Irma told him. Let's do this. Elvin and several of his fellow elves gathered around the recovering Hawk Fu as they shot their magic into the ground below him, before it exploded and sent him flying straight up. Using what little time they had, Tyranny created a ring of fire around a large patch of the ice below Hawk Fu, causing it to quickly melt into water, which Irma took control over and shot several points directly upward. Tyranny ceased the fire while Heylin blew a cold gust of wind to quickly cool the water, freezing it once again in the form of several razor-sharp ice spikes just as Hawk Fu began to fall and hit the spikes, causing him to poof away. Fire up the grill, because we just made a Hawk Fu kebab. Irma joked as she exchanged a three-way high-five with Tyranny and Heylin. Daolon Wong had managed to recover however and growled in anger. This night is not over yet. Suddenly a white aura formed around him as he felt himself losing control of St. Nicholas's magic. He then turned toward the source, which was Uncle, who continued to sit and perform his spell as a green Kai magic aura surged around him. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. 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 A reversal spell. Wong's eyes widened in shock, but it was too late for him to do anything. No. Suddenly, all the magic he stole from St. Nicholas left his body, in the form of a stream of white magic and returned to the body of its original bearer. This left him open for Toru to run up and deliver an uppercut to send him hurtling backwards. After punching Krampus again, Nicholas felt his magic returned as his whole body surged with white energy. He then looked toward Krampus, who snarled at him before Nicholas blasted a powerful wave of white magic to knock the demon back. Everyone, gather to me. St. Nicholas called to all his allies as the Guardians, J-Team, and Elves all gathered around him. We are going to seal Krampus back where he belongs, but I need all of your assistance. Elves and wizards, with me. We are preparing the spell. Guardians, you and your friends will keep Krampus at bay. But you, he placed a hand on Will's shoulder. The heart of Kandrakar has the ability to close portals in the Vale, as I'm sure you already know. Once the spell is ready, you will use the heart to seal Krampus away. You got it. Will nodded. They all heard a familiar roar as Krampus recovered and glared at each and every one of them. Go. Now. St. Nicholas ordered, prompting Jackie, Jade, Cornelia, Viper, Heylin, El Toro, Tyranny, Caleb, even Paco to rush Krampus and engage him in battle. Form a circle around Krampus, he instructed the elves and Kai wizards. Take the heart and fly over the circle. He told to Will specifically. With that, all the elves, along with Uncle, and Toru began to form a large circle around Krampus while the Guardians and J-Team kept him busy. St. Nicholas stood on one end of the circle, with Uncle across from him, while Elvin stood across from Toru with Alchemy standing by his side as Toru gave Alchemy a tiny squid tentacle. Chant in rhythm with us, and you'll be fine. Toru told Alchemy, who nodded in understanding. As Will flew high into the air above the circle, making sure she was directly above Krampus, she saw all her friends holding the demon back. Jade and Caleb hacked at him with their respective katanas while Tyranny, Irma, and Heylin pelted him with their respective elements as Cornelia grew more plant tendrils from her seeds and used them to bind Krampus' ankles. At the same time, Jackie and Viper had leapt to Krampus' back to pull down on his chains where El Toro and Paco meet them and all four began to pull back on the chains to keep him from moving around. Do it! Nicholas exclaimed as he shot his hands forward along with Elvin and the other elves, each of them glowing with bright white aura as their magic shined. At the same time, Uncle, Toru, and even Alchemy held out a blowfish, dried lizard, and squid tentacle respectively as they cited the chant. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. 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 All three of their bodies began to glow with a bright green aura from Kai magic, which then began to mix with the white aura from Nicholas and the elves, creating a ring of magic that surged all around Krampus. Seeing what was happening, the J-Team and Guardians moved far away as the spell began. As the ring continued to glow, Krampus growled in fear, knowing what they were trying to do as he attempted to leave the circle, only to get ensnared by a surge of white and green magic, which seemed to emanate from Will, who held the heart of Kandrakar over the demon, the crystal glowing with a mixture of the white and green energy as she too chanted alongside them. Yumo Gui Gui Fi Di Zhao. 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 Fa la la la, la 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 la. With that, Krampus was engulfed in a bright light that caused his whole body to turn intangible, almost like a ghost, before he was sucked deep beneath the ice, giving one final cry of despair before he was sealed away completely. The light vanished and the demon was nowhere to be seen. It is done. Nicholas nodded, resulting in everybody cheering in victory, exchanging hugs and high fives among one another. As they celebrated, the beaten Daolan Wang and Cedric regrouped as they glared at the heroes from a distance. Bah humbug! Wang snarled before waving his scepter, creating a cloud of dark smoke that caused both of them to vanish. With the celebrations over, the 6 guardians, having turned back to normal, along with alchemy, gathered around Saint Nicholas as they looked to him in utter amazement. "I can't believe it, you're actually real," Terani exclaimed with a wide smile. "And a total badass," Irma stated. "Heck yeah, you decked a demon with your bare fists," Jade added. "You're so amazing," Hey Lin squealed. "I always knew Santa Claus was someone special, but you, special doesn't even begin to cover the real thing. I guess I should keep my parents from giving my little sister the whole, Santa's not real, talk." Cornelia commented. "'Cause he is real and an epic superhero. You are totally my holiday hero," Alchemy added. "Wow, I am just, wow. I don't even have the words," Will said with an excited smile. Thank you," Nicholas said as he gave each of them head pats, earning squeals of delight from Heylin and Alchemy specifically. "You are courageous and strong girls, and I just know you will grow into even stronger women. Thank you for your help tonight, all of you." He looked toward Jackie, Viper, El Toro, Paco, Toru, Uncle and Caleb as well. "If it weren't for you, so many children would have been taken from their families. We are happy to help," Jackie assured. "Yes, trust us, we have plenty of experience with this sort of thing," Toru added. "Now, I believe it is time for you to go," Saint Nicholas told them. "It's Christmas after all. Who better to spend it with than your families?" As he and the elves prepared to use their magic to send them back, he paid a glance to Uncle. "You have grown strong, Jin. Please give Yan Lin my regards." "I will." Uncle waved back as he and the rest of the J-Team and Guardians were surrounded by a whirlwind of the elves, magic before vanishing from the Arctic. Heatherfield, Uncle's rare finds. Turns out, the heroes had arrived just before all their guests could arrive, so there was no need to give any last-minute explanations. Viper, El Toro, and Paco even choose to stay and celebrate with them. Even though Viper was Jewish and normally celebrates Hanukkah, she said she didn't need a reason not to celebrate with her friends. The girls' parents, as well as Irma and Cornelia's younger siblings, and Toru's mother, had soon arrived. Even Jade's parents made it as promised, and the party seemed to be in full swing as everyone helped themselves to food and drinks and mingled with each other. "You are a real luchador?" Mr. Lair asked as he and his wife talked with El Toro. "I am indeed," he confirmed. "Ooh, I wanna be a luchador when I grow up," Chris said with excitement. "It is a lot of work, not just anybody can do it." Paco replied with something of a confident tone of voice. Caleb helped himself to a plate of food as he felt his pant leg being tugged and looked down to see it was Lillian. "Is your name Caleb?" the young girl asked. "Yeah, that's me," he confirmed. "I hear Cornelia talking about you a lot. Are you her boyfriend?" Lillian asked, causing Caleb to blush as he tried to come up with response. "Please, help yourselves. There's plenty for everyone." Yan Lin told everyone as Jade's parents, Alchemy's parents, and the Hales and cooks helped themselves to the food being served buffet style. "You do your mother proud, Toru," Mrs. Toru said to her son as she ate some of the food that he had prepared. "You would make excellent cook if you choose not to fight forces of darkness." "I don't see a reason I can't do both, mother," Toru said with a smile. Toru makes fine apprentice. Uncle added. I know. I am so proud of him. She smiled toward her son once again. One more thing. Uncle got Mrs. Toru's attention again as he presented a wrapped present for her. She was more than a little surprised by the gesture, but it was a welcomed one. Ah, Billy Goat. She took the present with a smile. Meanwhile, as Jackie and Viper talked, they were soon approached by Will's mother. Excuse me, Mr. Chan. Oh please, call me Jackie. Jackie, I'm Susan Vandoom. Will's mother. She offered her hand to shake, which he accepted. A pleasure to meet you. Jackie greeted. You've raised an incredible daughter, and she has been such a great friend to my niece. That earned a smile from Susan. I've also wanted to thank you. Will talks about you quite a bit. You've left a strong impression on her and it's really helped her to grow. She also talks a lot about Jade and the other girls, and I'm really happy that she's made many great friends. You've been a good inspiration for my daughter, so let me thank you. You are welcome. Jackie nodded. As the adults continued talk with one another, the girls of W.I.T.C.H, and even Alchemy stood off to the side with plates of food in their hands while observing all the interactions. Nice to see everyone getting along with each other. Terani observed. Even Uncle and Toru's mom aren't at each other's throats for once. Irma added. Well, it's Christmas. What do you expect? Lin replied. Cornelia had a sad smile on her face however. I just wish that Elion was here. It's our first Christmas without her. Alchemy placed a hand on her friend's shoulder. You know we're gonna get her back, and if anyone tries to stop us, we'll beat them up. This earned a chuckle and thankful smile from Cornelia. One Oni mask left, Will said. And then we can take down Tarakudo and Phobos, and kiss the whole adventure goodbye. Jade gave a scoff with a smirk. Yeah, till the next big bad arrives. This earned a laugh from everyone. But seriously, fighting monsters and stuff is fun and all but, stuff like this right here, she gestured to all their families and friends getting along and having fun with one another. It really makes all the hard stuff we go through worth it. Oh yeah, Irma agreed. Absolutely. Terani also agreed. Totally. Lin added. 100%. Cornelia nodded with Alchemy. Will and Jade exchanged smiles with each other as the former looked toward the shining star at the top of the Christmas tree, as well as the heart of Kandrakar around her neck. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas. The other girls replied as they shared a large group hug with each other. And it's the end of part 19 of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.